Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 359. We have Sean for like an hour and 10 minutes. So I'm going to hit him with some of the topics before he leaves that he's going to be able to fill us in on, like the Battlefront collection. We'll talk about the Mario Day stuff. But then I also have Ryan here for the PS5 Pro stuff. So we got a lot happening tonight. It's exciting. Let me go around here, though. We're going to start with Josie Woe.
Hello.
Who has a fan
Josie
on or something?
A fan?
I have a silent fan on my bed.
That shit ain't
that wasn't
silent.
me.
You better get a refund on that motherfucker.
I've had it for a while. Is it still there?
There's the yellow check
No,
mark.
it's good
Thank you,
now.
Sean. Yellow
Okay.
dollar sign came through. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, good. I don't even know what was even going on just now. Oh, yeah, I was introducing Josie.
Hi. Happy to be here. It's all
Josie's
good.
back. It's good to
Yep.
have Josie back.
Yup.
Good to have Josie here. We have, if you didn't know, Sean. Sean is here.
Greetings.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. We have OJ holding up the pre-show.
Yep. Good to be here once again.
Good to have OJ here. Ryan is back again.
2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2
in a row.
weeks.
Is good to have you here, Ryan. Exciting stuff on that one with some of the PlayStation stuff that was happening this week. Actually, some good and some bad, technically. Oh, depending on how you look at it, I guess. We had canceled games. Now we have new hardware. So some fun stuff here. And Evan.
Yep.
Got Evan. All right, good stuff. Good stuff. So I do want to, like I said, Sean will be here until, who are the Knicks playing tonight, Sean?
Kings.
The Kings. Okay.
Should be a good game.
Okay.
It should be a good game.
Interesting. The Kings. All right, good stuff. Good stuff. How long are they on the West Coast for?
I think it's a 4-game trip.
Four-game trip. And
this is number 2.
they just played.
Portland.
Who they just play? Portland. Okay. Got it. All right. There we go. Question is, was I just stalling because Patreon decided not to load? Yes, I was. Let me go to some of the Patreon members here. Of course, you can support the show over on Patreon. That's SpawnCastNetwork.com. I do want to recognize some of the producers here. We have Trent A, and then some of the executive producers, William Hogue, Mr. Joby, Joshua Butts, John O, and our sponsor that's been ongoing for months now, the Game Orb. They are linked down below. Make sure you check them out, YouTube and Twitch, where they're streaming games or exploring different conventions. They got you covered. So make sure you check out the Game Orb down below. And we did have Direct Xbox this week, which actually got passed around a bit because Nate broke some news and then was corroborated just before we went live here tonight. So we'll be touching on the Persona 6 stuff as well later on. But Sean, I do want to start with while you're here again, you did play Battlefront. I played some of it as well. Not the best launch. Not the best launch for this game, which we can also discuss. But you played it on the Switch. I also played it on the Switch. What do you think of it?
As a game, I do enjoy it. Like I like, it's all classic Star Wars stuff. It's all recognizable characters. The gameplay loop is strangely addicting. I like the simplicity of it. It's not like you got to figure out, what classes you want to create. And so, it's all predetermined classes. Figure out which one works best for you. I think the levels are pretty cool. It's cool to fly around on vehicles and stuff. Having a bunch of people on the map is fun. Looks good enough, I feel. But yeah, the online is the problem because like the single player it's essentially just missions that are play out just like how they play out online. But Aspire, I guess they didn't realize that people want to play. And like, to be fair, Battlefront 1 runs a lot better online than Battlefront 2 does. But even still, like finding like games that have like humans in there's like 3 dedicated servers. It's like, what the fuck what are you doing? Like, did you not expect people to play this game online? That's the whole that was the whole marketing, the 64 player online stuff. Like when it works though, it's super fun. And I'll stand by that. But it needs some tightening up. Like
No, I agree with you on that. When the stars align and it plays well, it still holds up. It's still a blast. Like if you get some friends on with that and you can party up with a bunch of people. I mean, it's 32 on 32, so you have plenty of room for people to join in and play on the same team. I'm not really sure why the game doesn't have cross play though. That's the one that's throwing me off a bit because this feels like a game that needs it.
It's Aspire. Like Aspire is just so hit or miss, and it's like you would think they would put their A team on this game because this game is going to sell. People were hyped on this game. People were interested in this game, but to have such a rough launch of it, like you can't even play, you still cannot play hero mode online on Star Wars Battlefront 2. You can only do the standard conquest, which the hero mode has like basically when you play Conquest and Battlefront 2, the better you do, you can get unlocks of like people like Yoda or something like that to play as in the game. And then hero mode has everyone unlocked right at the start. So the game feels completely different because, you know, you can try to be Leia or Han Solo or something like that, but like everyone's fucking running around with like a lightsaber and it, you know, it feels so much different, but you don't get to really play it online. Like you have to play it with bots. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, I apparently with the PC version, that's the one that's getting beaten up a lot because I don't know what happened. For some reason, they thought 3 servers would be enough, and 10,000 people attempted to sign in and play on launch. So 3 servers covers less than 200 people. Then,
yeah,
I'm like, not really sure what the deal was there with Aspire. It's very weird.
I don't get it. I don't get it. And they sent out one of those generic ass we're sorry, we're looking into the things. It's like, bitch, you knew. And the thing that really pisses me off is these early reviewers, they didn't play the game online.
No, it went so they sent
the
code out
servers
early.
were not up.
Yeah, I could just play off. I just played offline. I tried searching the server. It just said connecting forever, so I didn't get a chance to try to play it online, unfortunately, to even test it. So we were kind of left with just playing with bots, which if you play offline, it works fine. Like no issues on the Switch. It's 60 frames per second, the whole deal. I do think it's a better game to play with a Pro controller because the Joy-Con sticks are shorter. So there's no auto aim online at all. It does not help you. So you're like swinging all over the place with the reticule.
Yeah, there's definitely, and then you can't invert the Y axis, which is annoying when you're flying a vehicle. So you know, it's just basic things that should be, but I mean, you know, that's modern gaming. Look at Penny's Big Breakaway. I don't know if you saw that, but the Switch version was 30 frames. Everything else was 60 or higher. And then they just announced that they're doing a 60 frames patch on the Switch. And it's like, this game just came out a month ago. You couldn't figure out a month ago how to make it 60, but all of a sudden, like, I don't. It's just the end.
I got that on the PS5 digitally. I'm gonna see if they do a physical copy on the Switch, and I'll pick it up.
I haven't played it yet. I'll get it when it's on sale or some shit.
So for the Battlefront collection for now, I would, especially on PC, I would hold out and see if they get it fixed up. Because if they do, awesome game, worth picking up. But if not, unfortunate, but hard to recommend that one.
How much is it?
35. Yeah, 35. And it's a pack of 2 games, the first and second Battlefront.
It's not that bad.
But no, I mean, the games you can still technically play them on the older systems and it's fun. This just looks a lot cleaner, like across the board, for all systems. They all run really well in terms of frame rate and resolution and stuff. So, but they didn't do too much to try to, like, it's not like a massive overhaul with the visuals. They just made it so it looks clearer on a 4K set or something. So, but it's fun when it works. So that my recommendation is, cross your fingers and hope eventually it gets fixed. We'll see. Let's. I said we would hold off for the PS5 Pro stuff because I think Sean, you said you're doing a video for it tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, y'all can talk about it. I just won't say anything.
We'll hold it. We'll hold it for after you're out for the next game, because we do have like the Mario Day recap, which it feels like forever ago now. That was really like the day after we did the podcast, so on Sunday, obviously, for Mario Day. And we had some announcements, the big one being that there's a new Mario movie. They didn't say what it is exactly, just there's another one. So I don't know if people are expecting a sequel or a spin-off.
Well, Zippo already got it covered. The great
Okay,
leaker,
what's the word? What's the word?
According to Zippo, it's either going to be a Luigi's Mansion movie or a Donkey Kong film, both of which are in development at Illumination. And then it's going to parlay into Luigi's Mansion 4, which is the biggest budget Nintendo game ever, according to prominent leaker Zippo.
That's
interesting.
Listen, man, that's some bullshit. Like, literally all of that is some bullshit. Like, holy shit, man. Sorry, excuse my French, but all of that is wrong.
Okay. Well, I was wondering if it would be a direct sequel or I don't know. I feel like they want to bring in somebody else to market for merchandise and stuff anyway. Maybe Yoshi has a more prominent role in the next one, something like that. But
It's got to be a
interesting.
direct
Luigi's
sequel.
Mansion. Yeah, they kind of left
Definitely.
it set up right at the end of the Mario movie. They kind of let it set up like there could still be adventures in the Mushroom Kingdom, that kind of thing. So
I mean,
Yeah,
you could
it's too
just
early to
expand
spin
upon
off.
everything.
It's
What's
way
that?
too early to spin off, is all I'm saying. Like, what are you gonna spin off into? Like, if people don't play the games very much, like they don't know. I don't know. If we want to make this as mainstream as possible, we got to go another Mario and Luigi adventure. I think in the Mushroom Kingdom.
And then you could introduce, those characters to give it, because
Mm.
obviously they want to do some sort of cinematic universe. And I know they introduced them in the first one, kind of those sort of themes, but you can really set it up with a second one and then do your spin-offs and stuff like that and make it this monster of a thing.
yeah, because the most recent movie is going back into theaters this
Right.
month, I believe. Yeah, so they're probably going to pump up the overall revenue numbers, and it'll be this. It'll probably be the best selling or the best highest grossing animated film or whatever they categorize it as. So yeah, Mario movie. It's 2026, however.
I just like that
Animation
we got
takes
another
so long. Oh, sorry.
another tweet that said this is Miyamoto.
He does that every
I love
time.
that.
He's done that like 3 or 4 times now. He's like, "This is Miyamoto."
It's just
Okay,
such
then he goes.
it's such a power move, right? This is Miyamoto. You're all going to listen to what I have to say.
He did that with I think it was Pikmin he did that with as well, and then the first Mario movie he did that. Like that's how he just apparently just announced themselves. Like when he walks in the room, he says that.
This is Miyamoto.
This is Miyamoto. You're like,
Listen.
okay, yeah. All right.
April
All right.
3rd, 2026.
They got the date and everything. They're ready to go. Apparently,
That's how movies do it, right? They always announce dates like 3-4 years in advance sometimes, which is weird because then they just move it right away when it's clearly not going to hit that date.
Yeah, I feel like I guess it's just more predictable than when you're developing a game and things can just be messed up in the game, bugs or any of that. And it just takes longer to a movie. You're not giving control.
They just release it. They just release that shit. They're like, we'll fix it. Don't worry about it. Big patch coming.
Man, I really want to push back on that, but I cannot after what we just talked about Battlefront. So there you go. But like the movie, yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous when they do release it. But I don't know. I want to see what direction they go with it. We'll see. When do we think we get the first trailer? I think this will be like a year-long build-up, so we won't see it until a year from now, 2025.
I think they might do a holiday 2024 trailer.
Okay. Just quick, like 30-second to a minute teaser to give us an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, then you get a bigger one in 2025. And
yeah, I figure they want to make the rounds at Comic-Con and all those, those kind of like nerd conventions like a year or 2 out anyway. So
Yeah, they might do something similar to the first one and like announce the actors and all that kind of stuff, and then
like
into
us,
it.
Chris Pratt.
Chris
How y'all
Pratt
doing?
returns.
How y'all bitches
love-
doing?
I
He's
love
so
He wasn't
cool.
bad.
it's so cool.
He
We
wasn't
have
bad.
We have a couple of game release dates. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD got a release date that is June 27th, and Paper Mario Thousand Year Door May 23rd. So they have effectively set up the first half of their year at this point for 2024. Since we have Princess Peach Showtime next week, we have Endless Ocean also coming up, and then we have Luigi's Mansion 2 and Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. So it's I guess at this time it's that we kind of see what's in front of us and June, I guess, for the next big blowout.
Still no Twilight Princess HD.
I thought it
Yeah.
was April. Isn't that what the Nintendo guys are saying? April, there's a big event happening.
People think there's a direct mini, most like something not like a major direct. I think their major direct is in June. I think most people believe that, but they could do something smaller where, hey, there you go, Ryan. They have Wind Waker Twilight Princess combo pack.
It could just be a tweet.
It
gotta be
might
like a
be.
Suck.
Back half of the year thing, right? Since this next hardware is allegedly Q1 of next year, you got to imagine something's coming the holiday season.
It wouldn't shock me if that was like an August, September release somewhere in there. So I
Which
think
at
we'll
that
have
point, you wouldn't even
probably
want to
more.
get it because there's going to be a Switch 2 version.
maybe
they're gonna
maybe it'll be
they're gonna have a
backwards
lineup of
compatible with
things.
a patch. I don't
Yeah.
know. Is it? it's gonna be a weird cross-gen for them to navigate. But if they come out and say immediately it's backwards compatible, I feel like their software will just sell fine this holiday. Because I'll just buy that and be like, oh, I'll use it on the next system. But that's I would like to see them round out the Zelda announcements for this generation with Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, because more people need to play Wind Waker.
Well, they don't have any games coming out in April, right? Nothing's planned.
No.
Yeah, so it makes sense for like a little presentation and maybe a shadow drop or something.
Okay. They said Jeff Grubb says some Metroid stuff is maybe happening in May. At least announcements for like Metroid stuff is happening in May. At least he said could be happening. So there's also that.
Okay. Yeah, because 2 and 3 is still floating around out there. Go, Josie.
Do you believe in the 2 and 3 double pack?
I don't know about a double pack. I don't know about a double pack.
I'm believing nothing.
Okay.
Do you think they just release them separately? Like they just drop them on the shop? It's like, here's this one for $25.
$25. Shut the hell up.
That'd be rad if they said $25. Yeah.
$30 each. $60 bundle.
I'm saying $40 each.
Like Pikmin 1 and 2.
Pikmin are a little different.
It's a little different, a little weighted.
I don't know. Metroid Prime Remastered, they only did 40 for that one, and that one's apparently going to be more like higher quality than these other two. So I mean, they could go both for like they could do it like Pikmin 1 and 2. They could.
Yeah, I mean, if they did a double pack physical, I think that'd be the way to go. I'd grab that right away. But it's Metroid Prime 3 would be the one I'd be the most curious to see how they make that work on the Switch.
Or even like what was it? Advance Wars? Advance Wars, they did 1 and 2 for that was 60. And that was like a remake.
Well, yeah, that's true. We'll add that the Metroid 2 and 3, and then the Twilight Princess Wind Waker. That would make sense to me for April mini direct, and let's set these up for the either April or then to the second half of the year. We already talked about Lego stuff last week, and we had 3 classic Game Boy games went into NSO: Dr. Mario, Mario Golf, Mario Tennis. Sean did a whole video just kind of playing through them and checking them out. But the disrespect that I saw going around this week on Mario Tennis and Mario Golf was disgusting.
I don't think it's disrespect. I think it's just young cats. You know, a bunch of broccoli heads. They weren't around for that.
Ryan, what did I tell you at too many games?
Not only did you really push the recommendation, but then I bought it complete in box. That was Game Boy Advance, though. I didn't get the Game Boy Color one.
Mario Golf, we saw it, and I said that it's an RPG. You were like, no, really?
It's back.
No one knows.
Over there somewhere.
Okay. See, I just said get the loose cartridge. You got like the box and everything.
I have to.
Okay.
Looks better.
It's
I didn't play it though.
No, well,
not yet.
Well, hey, you don't even have to crack it open now. You can put the advanced one will probably go into NSO at some point too. Then
you suspect it would at some point.
Yes. Sean, you played either one to show off at least the gameplay, but if you go into the single player, it is a full RPG for either tennis or for golf. So you level up your character, you have stat points, you go around like the academy or the club, and you talk to people, you challenge them, you go through basically quest lines, and it's the whole thing. So it's yes. This started the whole sports RPG thing for Nintendo with that. So I recommend people to check it out. It's actually pretty cool. It's worth firing up, and it's impressive for the Game Boy Color is what I'll say, but I get it now. You kind of look around, you're like, ooh, okay, these visuals are a little crunchy, but still it was good back then. Yeah. I mean, the Game Boy Advance,
it's a Game Boy game.
Game Boy Color, sir. Game Boy Color.
Game Boy Color. People expected what are they expecting? What?
It's not the original Mario Tennis game though. It's not what started the Mario Tennis franchise.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna talk about that Virtual Boy game? Oh,
what's the name of the game, Jonathan?
I played that game and it was so
the name of the game.
Mario's Tennis.
There you go.
Mario's like possessive. It's his tennis.
Yeah, it was.
That's what it says. I had to get it right when I was typing it in. I was like, Mario's tennis.
Sounds like a cereal.
Virtual Boy Red because it's Mario's because that needs to be red, right?
Yeah, I played that on the 3DS, and it's not a very good tennis game.
What are you talking about? It's fine.
The perspective where it puts you behind the person, you can't tell how close the ball is to you.
If you play it on a Virtual Boy, it's probably better.
Maybe if you're like up close personal and you can see it with depth. I mean, you can see it with depth on the 3DS. It's all there.
Yeah, but it's
Ah.
not quite the same.
Imagine if they made a Virtual Boy compilation for the Nintendo Switch and you used the Labo VR thing for it.
I don't think the Labo VR can
I'd buy it
handle
so fast.
That might
sounds-
actually get Sean to put his Labo together.
That sounds terrible. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
That
the
sounds like
VR set.
absolutely terrible.
That sounds like a great idea.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I
I'd
would
buy
love
it. 100%.
See?
I skipped every Labo, but that would get me to get one.
Mm-hmm.
Virtual Boy, man. It's I didn't have a great time with it. Sean really likes the Virtual Boy, and yet he won't load it on his 3DS to check it out.
It's because this 3DS, I gotta undo the screws. I gotta find a screwdriver, and the other one, I lost the battery.
That one's already modded, isn't it?
They both are.
Yeah, it's super easy to just move it over on the SD card installs in like 10 seconds.
Surprisingly easy.
Well, and I think that was it for Mario Day.
I saw a lot of people that were like upset with what the fuck do you expect on a goddamn Sunday in March? Like I thought
people should have been surprised this even happened. Go on.
Nah, Smash JT made a whole video. He made a whole video.
did he?
Like, this is the worst Mario. This is not horrible. He was going nuts. I'm like, bruh, what?
I honestly I didn't expect anything. Like 'cause I was like, it's a Sunday, but
Well, I knew something was coming because Piero said it, but like,
I mean, NSO drops. That was something. The Mario movie announcement. I mean, they could have just done the 2 release dates and moved right along. But
yeah, I thought it was fine. I was pleasantly
really
surprised.
we usually get nothing. We usually get like there's like a new candy in stores. It's like there's a there's like a new Mario
Lego set.
plushie. Yeah, new Lego set Mario plushie at Build-A-Bear, something like
they dropped the 5-year-old game from 60 to 40. Everyone celebrates.
Yeah, like some Mario Day sales. Yeah, exactly.
Usually a weird
You get Mario
crossover
Tennis
with-
Aces.
You
Mario
get
Tennis
a
Aces for
clothing
like,
company crossover for like $100 shirt, and you're like, why?
Exactly.
What's-
There it is.
That's usually what we don't get release dates for games and stuff at these things. So I don't know what people were expecting, but yeah, whatever.
That seemed fine to me. It's Sunday for Mario Day. Got some game release dates. Got the NSO drops for 2 big time RPGs going in. So it's seemed fine.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a 3-minute thing too. It was very
Yeah.
quick. Like I think 80% of it was them just talking about the movie with Miyamoto and Illumination. So the rest was just here's 30 seconds of announcements after that, and that was kind of it. So it's pretty quick. Pretty quick. And then before that, we had the Lego stuff, which I guess you could tack that on, and technically it's like a 10-minute presentation overall, but it was fine. It was Mario Day. It's about what I was
Where the
expecting.
Mario Lincoln logs at? That's what I want.
Mario Lincoln. What? The Mario Lincoln logs?
Yeah.
Just
I don't
red.
know. I don't
I
kids
can't
know
believe
Lincoln logs like that nowadays, Sean.
I just had a fight with my friend group about this because one guy has never heard of Lincoln Logs, and
Same.
everyone yelled at him. It's like, what do you
Good.
mean you never
Was
heard
he
of
more of a
Lincoln Logs?
Connect person?
I was a Connects kid, but I knew about Lincoln Logs.
You got to have all of it. It's great.
We were not a Lego household. We couldn't afford that.
Yeah, I had
Connects.
Lincoln logs. I had the Lincoln logs, and I had I got a domino rally from a yard sale for like $5, and it was like missing some of the dominoes, so I never really got to
Wait a
use
minute,
it.
hold
Like,
up, Brian. Did you just
like
say that you
marbles,
couldn't
too.
afford? You couldn't afford dude. Legos were cheap as hell. What you talking about?
Well, think about the mileage though. Connects were selling those like roller coaster sets where it takes up like half the living room for like $60 or something.
Because
You know what I'm saying?
I grew up broke as hell, and I had Legos.
Well, I mean, we weren't like broke, but we were broke enough to not like buy a nice Lego set, you know?
Bro, I was broke. It was like sometimes eat or
I had.
Hey,
That's
Hey,
a
not have
different
fun.
kind of broke, OJ.
he ate the
Also, like-
Legos.
I mean, I would get pretty pumped when I got a Bionicle every once in a while. Come on, son.
You had to get
you
the.
got to go to the yard
little-
sales for the Legos, man. That's what my dad used to do. He used to go around to the yard sales, just get all sorts of
Farmers market.
Legos.
I wasn't
$5
doing
of them.
that. With what car was I doing that in America?
It's gotta
At-
get
No,
the
your
good old
parents.
I was
Lego blocks.
16.
Your parents didn't have a car?
Well, yeah, but I'd have to ask them.
Oh, like
Hey,
Dad,
can we
go
go to
get me some
yard sales?
Lego.
What kind of kid says, hey, can we go to a yard sale?
Me, got games. Broke kids.
Well, I didn't have that foresight.
Okay.
I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking Toys R Us, so I can look at shit I can't buy.
Oh, yeah.
Yard sales. You can get good NES games at yard sales, like $1 a pop, man.
Well, I should have been friends with you then, because you would have had the scoop. You would have been able to tell me this.
The lowdown.
Those were
on
the
Legos.
days of just being excited to go to browse. That was
I just wanted to look.
days.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Like, damn, it'd be nice to have that.
Just look through the glass at all the games. Yeah.
Oh, that happened with PS1 games for me. Just like I wish I had a PS1. That happened to me so much back in the day. Couldn't afford them, Ryan.
I do want to bring this up. I'm curious what your take is on this one. I think there's a couple ways to read this. So we know Sea of Thieves is going to the PlayStation 5. It's actually was that at the end of April or March?
Yep.
Hi-Fi Rush is set to release on March
1st.
April is grounded, and then we have Sea of Thieves following up April 30th. Okay, got it. All right, so it was noticed, I think Benji Sales even posted this up on X, that Sea of Thieves had actually topped the pre-order chart for the PlayStation 5. And obviously it's a very fluid chart. It changes like every day, every other day or something. Like it's consistently moving around.
Probably every 24 hours. All he's doing is he's going to the actual console and sorting by best selling.
Right, best selling for pre-orders.
So that's basically it. There's no telemetry that we can see in terms of like how many or whatever, just that it's positioning. It's like the first tile.
It was interesting, I guess, that it's up there at this point for Sea of Thieves. Obviously an older title on the Xbox, but new on the PlayStation. And I mean, it's up there next to like Dragon's Dogma 2, Rise of the Ronin is there. So like newer, exciting games, you could say, ones that are being pushed pretty heavily currently leading up to release. Is it is it surprising to see Sea of Thieves already up there so quickly when it's out at the end of April and it being a live service game, yes, but a game that's been out for a while. And I mean, let's face it, Sea of Thieves was getting a couple years ago. I feel like, was it 3 or 4? It was getting beaten up a bit online as being like a boring, slow game. And I mean, it's been a while. It's gotten a lot of updates, and it's pretty feature rich now.
Yeah, I'd say I was a little surprised to see that.
Okay.
I mean, as far as I knew, the game wasn't taking the world by storm. It wasn't bad per se, but if you're asking me, I did not think there was like a lot of pent up demand on the PlayStation side for that game. But I mean, you can like get into it for 40, right? 40 it's going to launch at, and there's like a deluxe edition or whatever for 60, because there's 2 tiles on the store for that.
Yes.
One ranks higher than the other, but they're both on there. I don't know. I'm a little surprised, but I'm sure there's something there that people want to get into.
I was trying to figure out if this is more like PlayStation in general with their live service stuff. They have Helldivers 2 now, but even that I feel like is very, very successful currently, because there is that kind of that lack of like first party live service game that's like incredibly popular from Sony. And I almost wonder if Sea of Thieves is kind of sliding into that role right now, while it is for Microsoft, but just kind of like, okay, this is something we haven't really had at all like this, like a pirate multiplayer style game like that.
You got whatchamacallit, Skull and Bones.
God.
Right there. What are you doing, PlayStation owners?
I mean, I would argue first party doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things for live service, because like Helldivers 2 is a sequel. You tell me how many people played Helldivers 1 on PlayStation 3, Vita, and Steam.
John
Not
did.
many. Not many.
Okay,
I played it for a little while, but it was nothing like what I'm getting out of Helldivers 2.
For a PlayStation IP, like that game just became bigger than any sort of je ne sais quoi that went for like having eyes on a first or second party title. Like the game just, was kind of an anomaly. But so, I mean, yeah, I guess it just depends broadly across the entire audience if there's pent up demand for more live service in general. I don't think like a wider audience is really paying attention to the studio per se, or if it's a first party game.
Okay. Yeah, because it's interesting with Sea of Thieves, I believe you have to sign in with an Xbox account to do like online crossplay.
Yeah.
And you do that with Minecraft. And I almost wonder if Microsoft is realizing that they may have something here with kind of the live service sector, if they can just move more of those titles over where you make them people on other platforms sign into your Xbox account, because they will count those people as monthly active users.
Oh yeah.
That's a big
if they can obfuscate the numbers in any way that they can, they'll do it.
Yes, they absolutely will, and I would not be shocked if all of a sudden Sea of Thieves comes out as well on PlayStation. All of a sudden, their numbers jump just because they can kind of write them off like that.
I mean, why wouldn't you say that? Yeah, if they get X number of more people, why would you not say Sea of Thieves has crossed over how many players?
You think about playing Sea of Thieves on their own?
I wanted to play Grounded. Grounded looked more interesting to me,
Okay.
to be honest. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Grounded, yeah, another live service game that crossplay I think between all the platforms too, including Switch.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. Grounded. We played Grounded. I played it. Sean hated it. I played it a little longer than Sean and I think Nate and all of them. I don't know. Did you try out Grounded at all?
Nah.
Yeah. It's the Honey I Shrunk the Kids from the backyard trying to essentially escape the backyard, but then you end up just building stuff out like it's Minecraft and survival. Wait, did you play that, Evan?
No, I looked into it, but it wasn't really into it. I think Small Land was coming out shortly after or something. I picked that up instead.
Gotta be honest, Evan, that it does kind of seem like an Evan game when I was playing it.
It's co-op though. I think that came out shortly around Valheim, and I was playing.
Oh, I think you're right. You were really into Valheim too.
No, yeah.
Yeah, that does seem like a game.
I mean, I did play. I played Grounded on the first beta of it.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I didn't like it.
See, that's kind of a Sea of Thieves situation, though, Sean, where they have done a lot of updates to it. So
yeah, because I mean, you can
I'm
watch
curious
that
how it'll
beautiful
run on
Sea of
Switch.
Thieves documentary and hear me talking.
You
shit
were
on
in
it.
there. They did have you in there. That was awesome.
It was awesome.
Did they contact you about that?
No.
Really? Wow. They just usually the companies will usually like contact you and be like, "Can we use this footage?" Or they just
They just did it.
That was it.
I mean, it's fine with me. I don't care.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's just funny sometimes. So I've had that. Sometimes they'll come to you and be like, "Can we borrow this footage?" And then you look back and it's like 2 seconds. It's like, oh, okay. How many emails do you have to send to make this hour-long documentary? So,
Is that an official thing from Microsoft, Sean?
From Rare.
Oh, from Rare. That's super funny.
It's on their
Rare
YouTube
knows Sean?
channel.
Got him in the crosshairs?
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it.
Print out a picture and put it on The Office. Be like, let's show this guy. Now
It's
look.
just a clip. It's a clip of me saying the game would be dead in 6 months.
That's crazy.
It is too. It's up there. Yeah, it's really funny.
That is awesome. I got roasted
That's
in
dirty.
2 seconds or less.
That's dirty.
It wasn't fun though at launch. Like I was bored out of my mind. But then we played it like what, a year ago, 6 months ago, something like that. It was a hell of a lot
I
better.
think Wood was even playing with us too, and he was doing all kind. He was very familiar with the game compared to us, but he did a lot. It was just because we had fun because we were like the Three Stooges trying to drive the boat, and Wood was just he had to have been annoyed the whole time. Like when MVG and I were navigating, you were trying to plug the holes of the ship as we were crashing into rocks, and yeah, that was great. So. If you have people, it's fun. That game, I'm sorry. If you play it by yourself, it's not fun. Well, it's not as fun for me anyway. You get a little
Yeah, that
sailboat.
was my experience
try to get
too.
around.
I had to have people with me doing it, and I had like a little squad. And when we had that squad, it was really fun. But otherwise, it was pretty horrendous by myself.
Yeah, it's a more social game, but you can kind of have fun with it.
Just
So-
chill on the high seas. That's what we did. Just kinda
No,
sail
I was
around and
trying
talk.
to kill motherfuckers. Like,
He was.
see that boat coming up? Yeah, that's our boat now.
There was no diplomacy with Sean.
No.
He's cutthroat the whole time. If people haven't played it, Sea of Thieves, I'd look into it, see what you think. But it's a very unique game, is what I'll say. But it probably had the best looking water I've ever seen in a game too. So
I feel like it could do so well on a Nintendo platform. Like if they bring it to the Switch too, I feel like it could. There's sort of demand, right? There's nothing really like that.
The moment a storm happens in the game, your handheld just lights on fire.
It just explodes. Yeah.
Yeah, you get the Kraken could pop up, and yeah, it'll be over. It'd be over. But yeah, that's happening April 30th. So we'll see how it does when it comes out. But Grounded is interesting too, Ryan. That's a good point. We'll have to follow up on that one too to see how that does. Let me go over to. I'm going to pull up some of the super chats here. There we go. Start. Okay, let me start from the top here. CJ says, do you think Dragon's Dogma 2 will be a breakout hit like Elden Ring was 2 years ago? Like Elden. I don't know if it'll be on Elden Ring.
Yeah,
level.
it's not going to be Elden level. Elden existing might bring more attention to Dragon's Dogma 2 than the first one got. It's a good game. It was a good game back then. Hopefully this new one carries.
Did you see some of the footage for this new one, Evan? It looks kind of ridiculous.
It looks ridiculous, but there's RPG elements to it that were really fun in the first game, with like finding skill trees and stuff, and kind of making what you want to be like come to fruition. I was like an anti-magic paladin by the end of my game. It was kind of fun. But yeah, if they actually pull it off, it'd be great. And I do think Elden Ring might help its sales. The fact that Elden Ring exists and people are like, oh, I might actually like this as well. So we'll have to see if that works.
Did you see the footage of like the big giant boss or something throwing a spear through the bridge and like just exploding in all these pieces?
Yeah,
really cool.
Well, that was the thing with the first game though, because they showed off the magic where you could actually summon a tornado in fight, and it was actually a tornado just going around ripping things apart. You could hop on the back of a griffin as it's flying around and try to bring it out of the sky. So it's fun because it's kind of like Elden Ring mixed with a little bit of Monster Hunter elements, which is just, I think it's good.
Well, that's out. That's next week, right?
4 days.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of stuff dropping here in a couple days. Phew. Let's try to figure out who's playing what for the podcast. Actually, no, I think
Princess
we figured that
Peach.
out. Okay, you're Princess Peach. I think
Princess
OJ. I think OJ's also gonna play Princess Peach. You mentioned that.
Yeah.
Sean, you're playing.
I'm gonna do Dragon's Dogma.
Dragon's Dogma. I will play Rise of the Ronin then. And Evan will probably play Dragon's Dogma too, as well.
Probably. I got a lot of
Okay,
stuff
there we
to do
go.
this week, but yeah, probably.
All right. And Ryan can start
Well,
Rebirth.
Rise of the Ronin is going to be the new PS5 exclusive, so I'll probably
You're on it?
try and get.
You
I'll
haven't
try and
started
play it for a little bit.
Rebirth?
I kind of I didn't have enough time. I want to start. I kind of do want to play Princess Peach a little bit too, though. If I'm being
okay.
honest.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Might be between both. We'll see.
I'll cover. I'll be on Rise of the Ronin, so you can go either way with it if you want. You can go Princess
wow.
Peach or
Giving me time off.
pick what. Either one. Pick one.
Get to
Pick
play.
one. I mean,
Get to not play PlayStation stuff.
OJ, did you play that demo for Princess
I did.
Peach?
Mhm.
Thoughts?
It's okay.
All right.
Josie, did you play the demo?
I did. I thought it was
What are your thoughts
kinda-
on it?
kind of mid. I don't know.
Oh,
hope
I
it's
thought you were about to. I thought you were about to be really excited.
No,
just now.
I
You're-
hope it's
you're-
cooler. I hope the main game is cooler. But
They didn't really give. They didn't really give like a lot. Like if you watch the overview trailer, there's like rehearsals and there's a bunch of other stuff that's
Mhm.
not in the demo that's more exciting. So
I don't know.
the demo's okay.
Nintendo Prime was fucking ecstatic with that cake making stuff. If you watched his video talking about it, like, making a
The
cake and stuff. I can't get 100% on it. It's tough. I was like,
The
oh,
cake
okay.
stuff is kind of it's kind of cool. I like the cake stuff. It's cool. I'm looking forward to the obviously Ninja one and the what was it, the Mighty Peach, that looks cool. She's like a superhero, and also like the stealth, like the detective stuff seems like it'd be pretty cool too. So I think it's gonna be okay, like 7 out of 10 type of game. I'm not thinking it's gonna be like, oh my god, game of the year, but I think it's just gonna be like a cool game to play, like a fun game that's polished, fine, nothing really wrong with it, nothing too crazy, but just still fun chill game to play.
Okay. Mike Dude says PS5 Pro probably only console to play GTA 6 at 60 FPS. We'll be discussing that, Mike. I got you. The GTA 6 PS5 Pro link. It's from T. Joe, says, so now that Mario Golf and Tennis are on Game Boy NSO, can Nintendo still seriously not be bothered to put controller pack and transfer pack support in N64? So my understanding, because the Tennis, I know off the top of my head, has like the transfer pack stuff. To my understanding, they just unlocked it. They didn't even mess around with it. They're just like, oh, nope, all that's just unlocked. So I assume they're not going to, at least for this current generation. Maybe next gen they play around with it more, but it seems like they're fine with them being kind of on their own, just enabling the features you unlock otherwise. It's from Trom Vita, who says, since Sony is into live service games, they should bring back a new PlayStation All-Stars. Been playing the original on PS3, not perfect, but still fun. I have not played PlayStation All-Stars in a long time. It might have been like 6-7 years now.
I played it a couple years ago. I played it a couple years ago. Okay. It could work, but in terms of like Smash clones, there's not a ton of them that do incredible outside of like the indie scene, right? Like usually what we'll see with Smash clones is like rivals or a game like that, or like Brawlhalla, like free to play. I mean, there's some stuff that's done okay. But yeah, if they wanted to bring it back, they'd have to get a developer that knows how to do that. And I'm not sure who they would get to make that type of game, you know, like to make it like really good. Because you're talking about like really big IPs here. We're not talking like a, you know, like a new IP, right? Or just like making up like cats and dogs and different type of like senators and things like that. It'd be like big IPs that they have. So it'd have to be a top-notch developer in game. And I just don't know if Sony has the like the development studio to do that right now, at least. I'm not sure who they'd pick.
They'd find a different studio for that.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, who would it be? That like, it's tough to make that type of game. You know, it's not easy. So I'm just wondering who would it be. You know,
Who can it be now?
Well, PlayStation All Stars is alive and well. If you want to play it, there is still a community keeping that game alive.
You were playing online with that still?
I mean, I think they do it through either X-Link or RPCS3. I know they also use Vita for it as well, because Vita actually can have local play, so that you can do that through X-Link High. Yeah,
That's actually pretty impressive.
There's a community for it.
Wow. Okay. I mean, that'd be a very unique title for them to put out if they did a follow up to that. It would be like nothing they have now. So
yeah, I mean, I would be down. I played a ton of PlayStation All Stars back in the day. I thought it was great. You know, I think the one thing that I would change if they did bring it back, don't make it to where specials knock people out of the arena. Like I would like it to where if you just get a good hit on somebody, it just knocks them out, just like Smash or like any of the other Smash clones that are out there.
This from Stakes says, anyone else assume John was short pre-Nintendo?
He is short.
I am. I'm less than 6 foot, so I'm considered short.
He lies. He lied to all. He was like, I got tall. I told this on my fucking pre-after show. I got taller recently. I went to the doctor. They said I was taller because, you know, mid-30s men definitely get that growth spurt. And he's like, no, it's because I've been working out. Like, stretches out my spine and my posture's better. That doesn't mean you got taller. That means you must have been hunching over. Like, if you would have stood up straight. But, like, any motherfucker can stand up straight. So, by that logic, that I'll still be taller than you.
What's the definition? Because, like, I would say the definition of short is anything underneath the average height of where you live. That would be, like, factually short, right? Because you're shorter than the average. John is not shorter than the average height for men in the U.S. So how does that make him short? I don't get it.
I'm officially 2 inches shorter than 6 feet. So it's either you're 6 foot or not.
5'10".
I'm 5'10".
You didn't grow.
I'm 5'10".
John is definitely 5'10".
I'm sure I'm telling you.
5'10" isn't something you lie about usually.
Yeah, that's
You're in a rough spot if you got to lie about 5'10".
Yeah, you're in trouble. You're in trouble if you're lying about 5'10".
Sean is like half an inch taller than me. He's like 5'11".
Might as well just round it up. Maybe I'll fucking extend my spine. I'll stand up straight as a fucking board. You're like
Sean,
that episode of The Simpsons.
Just tell people you're 5'13". Just do it.
Where Bart had to be taller to be Radioactive Man's sidekick.
He got
Radiation
the shoes.
Boy. Yeah, and he got the shoes, and he had you probably got your kids pulling you apart. Pull, Mighty Stallions, pull, and trying to rip you apart. Hate you.
Sean,
Yeah, that's how that happened.
Sean, I tried to help you with that, and I said, just do some pull-ups, you and Nate, and the response was in a row.
I never said that. That's one of your crappy dad jokes.
That's Nate. That's Nate. No, Nate said that.
How tall are you, OJ?
5'9".
5'9".
There's a
Evan,
picture of us
Can we go
next to each
around?
other on
Like,
Twitter.
5'9". Mystic? Ryan?
I got to be close to John because we were pretty eye level when we were in person together.
So he's 6'4" then, if you're close to John, because John's just growing like a weed.
If
So
John's
proud of
saying
him.
5'10", I'm getting away with 5'11". Fuck it.
There you go. Ryan's 5'11".
But I'm not.
What does it matter unless you're going to play in the NBA, which none of us are? Like, it literally
Because
does
he
not
tries
matter.
to make it a big deal. He's like, I got taller. It's like, no, you didn't.
It does not matter.
I haven't said that to anyone.
None of us are dunking, so what does it matter?
I said that to you and Nate and I guess Josie.
I used to.
That doesn't really sound like making it a big
I
deal.
couldn't dunk because I got small hands, but I could grab the rim in my heyday.
That must have been a long time ago.
No,
You grabbed the
high school.
Okay.
A little after high school.
Well, you get the rim. There you go. That's all you need. Doesn't matter how tall you are then.
Oh, I can definitely grab rim. That's not.
There you
That's
go.
not that hard.
I can't. I'm 5'4" on a good day.
Tiny for an Amish person.
Just measure like John does. You'll be 5'7". You're fine. Above
I was
average
always the
height
short
for a
kid,
woman.
and then like I started growing in like college, and now I've evened out with the rest of the.
Hey,
The
what are you, a
girls.
hobbit before college?
When I went into high school, which was a long time ago, but when I went into high school, I
Long
was
time ago. You're 20.
well, yeah, but like I was like 14, 6 years ago. When I went into high school, though, I was like 4'11", so it was
really tiny.
it was horrible actually the first few years.
So I'm asking how tall
they
Evan
put you in
is.
lockers?
He's basically, we're all basically the same height, just about.
Yeah.
We're all like in that area of like 2 or 3 inches below 6 foot,
Yeah.
like right in that area.
Right, it's the
And
average
all-
height for men in the U.S.
And yet all of my close
Basically,
friends
no
are
one
6
here
foot
is like
2 minimum.
obscenely tall to where you don't expect it, and you show up and they're like, "This person's 6'5". What happens? None
John,
like that. Nothing like
6'7".
that. Thank you, Sean. Thank you. Yeah, I was on the Nintendo podcast, and people were confused that I have legs. So there you go.
Oh yeah, that
It
was
was a
funny.
whole thing. It was a whole thing.
You also
Some of the
made sure
comments
to
are very nice, though. Had a lot of
get
very
it
nice.
right on your
messages.
arm.
What's that?
The camera angle was insane. Your arm was just like huge.
I mean, it's just from the side. I was just
yeah.
just
That was
sitting
funny.
like that. Yeah. So they it was fun though. It was a good time. That's up over on the Nintendo channel. So I'd check it out. It was fun. It was fun. They have a very nice setup there, by the way. Sean needs to get over there and check it out. I keep telling him to go there, but it's in New York, and
You gotta go to Brooklyn. If it was in the city, that's one thing. But then you gotta go. So I'm not gonna drive there. You gotta take the train, and then you gotta, you go to the city, and then you gotta get another train. Maybe I'll make Wood pick me up from the train station.
well, that's the thing. Driving there isn't a problem until you get to New York, and then it's like it takes 2 hours to go 120 some odd miles, and then it takes an hour to go 6 miles.
Yeah,
It takes
I know. Like,
forever.
I don't have that sort of patience with
Yeah,
people.
I'm good on all that, man.
Oh,
That reminds me
Sean-
of,
Sean
Los
would've-
Angeles.
Yeah, it's very sad. But like they had a stretch of road work where they just took out all the like the pavement in the road, so there was no lines, nothing, and it was just a free for all in the middle of Manhattan.
Mad Max.
It
for a
was
couple blocks.
ridiculous.
Witness me.
People were just there was like 4 cars on like one side of the road. Is like okay, so it was disastrous.
Begging
but-
for an accident.
But I got there, and the place there is very nice. So I would recommend Sean you go over there, try to sit on one of the episodes. Think you'd have fun. I think people there would like to see you too. People were asking about you. People were asking about OJ too. When's OJ going to
Okay.
come over here? It's like, this is on the East Coast, right? This
Too
is
far.
this is
I'll
the-
be over there, but it's got to be like when my wife wants to go like for vacation or something. It ain't gonna be just me just rolling over there because she wants to go to New York, But it'd have to be like when she has time for vacation and all that.
Also,
That's
thank
too
you,
far away.
Jesse. The camera adds like 2 inches on the arm. So
Also on the height, apparently.
Yeah.
hey, you're sitting
I'm
down. We're all even.
6'1".
Hey, I'm gonna keep growing.
Andre
6'3"
the
tomorrow,
Giant
Sean.
over here.
This is from Aaron, who says the replies and quote tweets on your Persona 6 post are quite disrespectful to you and Nate, since they're acknowledging Midori even before she corroborated. Well, it seems to happen a lot with Nate. He'll give good info that he's fairly sure of, and people won't believe it, and then he'll get corroborated, and then people will believe it. So Nate put it out there, got corroborated. People are happy now. So there you go.
I mean, I think it was pretty. I think we kind of knew that was coming, though, right? Like, or maybe
Yeah, but it
people
was
didn't
kind of
think
like I think especially recently people have been kind of unsure about Xbox in general recently. So
Okay.
I feel like this is a move that Microsoft would have had to have at least met more than halfway to get it done. In my personal opinion, is they would have had to go a little further with Sega and Atlas than maybe Sony would have had to have. So or Nintendo.
I think it's
even.
going to be Game Pass probably.
That would be pretty big for him. That would be.
Yeah, it's probably going
if
to be
it
a game.
was
I mean, because Metaphor Refantasy was Game Pass, Persona 3 Reload's Game Pass.
That's true.
I mean,
That's
Persona 5 was Game Pass, Persona 3, Persona 4, they were all Game Pass. So I'm guessing they're just going to keep
one bit,
giving
like
back-
just one serious deal about this. Yeah, get it
Yeah,
done.
I'm guessing they're going to keep giving backs for Game Pass for Atlas's like best games, at least.
I'll take that. Persona 6 on Game Pass. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Let's see. It's from Leo. It says all this news about PS5 mid-gen refresh and no news about an Xbox refresh. This is a sign of them pivoting away from consoles. Now there probably is going to be an Xbox refresh. Just might not be.
It was in the Microsoft leak. What are you talking about?
They said they got new hardware coming, right? Or-
They have something
Oh.
coming this holiday. They were talking about it. So it's Then they said that leak is outdated. But we got the information about how there's a diskless one coming. So I feel like it's gonna be something like that. So this is from Nick, who says, why do we need a PS5 Pro if games run slightly better and no games to show for it? 8K is on the original box. Thanks. The contents got me through. Contents got me through losing my leg and kept me entertained through the pain. Wow. Okay. Shout out to Nick Robbins there with that. But why do we need a PS5 Pro if games run slightly better and no games to show for it? Well,
I agree. Kind of.
a lot of talk about the PS5 Pro. So, Nick, we're just going to go right into that topic now. We got you. Sean, you have your video tomorrow.
Yep.
You're going to be covering it.
Yep.
Okay. But the PS5 Pro, it has leaked in some fashion. It's still, did you see the Insider Gaming also did another article following it up? And it was like what games are going to be launching with it?
No, I didn't see that.
Well, can I pull that up? Let me see. Here it is. It was really funny because I looked at that. I was like, oh, he's got more information about it. And it was just they wrote the article basically to say that they don't know what games are coming out and that they'll update it when they do.
Hey, that's
the Google SEO.
Yeah, I think that it. Yeah. So I mean, hey,
Because you're going to Google it and you're going to go to a page that tells you nothing.
pretty much. But I guess technically it'll be aged, so maybe it'll get like precedent in search results.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know. It's
what he's
weird.
doing.
Yeah. So anyway, the one that people really care about is the PS5 Pro specs leak are real, according to Insider Gaming, releasing holiday 2024. Came originally from Moore's Law is Dead on YouTube, and it appeared he had some of the documentation that he blurred, crossed some stuff out to try to keep some of the identities secret. But in essence, it gave us an idea as to some of the capabilities, or at least some of the things that Sony appears to be targeting with this new hardware. It does appear like it's coming out 2024 because it is now. Again, this is according to this article here, and apparently some other people online that were mentioning it. It's in the dev portal. So like it's just there with a bunch of the information for it. I assume Sony did this ahead of actually where MVG is going next week, GDC, where obviously a bunch of developers are going to get together and talk about probably this and maybe other things. But the leaked document confirms rendering 45% faster than the PS5, 2 to 3 times ray tracing, or 4 times even in some cases over the current PS5, 33.5 teraflops, which is roughly we'll say a 3x over the PS5 now. Although teraflops, not the greatest way to measure capabilities anymore. It probably was better maybe a generation or two ago.
12 over 10.
Thank you. PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution Upscaling. It's their upscaling anti-aliasing solution. They're going to support resolutions up to 8K. That's planned for future SDK versions, which your PS5 box actually currently has 8K on it. So we're getting there. Custom machine learning architecture and AI accelerator supporting 300 tops of 8-bit computation, which is just a measurement for how many calculations a chip can do in a second, that being in trillions, I believe. And then 67 T-flops, 16-bit floating point. You don't have to worry too much about that. Really, there's just an AI chip on the board that is most likely going to be responsible for upscaling the image from 4K, sub 4K up to apparently 8K. But the question everyone has right now, and I see it all over the place as Nick has pointed out here, why do we need a PS5 Pro? That is like the question everywhere right now. Do we need this? Is it necessary? Is it required?
You know what? I think I'm gonna go ahead and just say what I'm gonna say in tomorrow's video. Do we need a PS5 Pro? I mean,
Well, Sean has done.
Tease
what
the
the
video
Knicks
for
did.
tomorrow.
Just
Sean
pulled a next
decided
time
to-
on Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well. Okay. He's gone.
Go watch the video tomorrow. I guess
There
that's
you
what he
go.
wants to do.
His video will be up. That's Sean RGT 85. He pulled a Knicks and folded. So why don't we go to Ryan? What do you think
Yes.
about the PS5 Pro? Do we need it? What are your thoughts on them releasing it? Fourth year then technically of the system, right? It'll be 4 years completed. We assume. Let's just say it comes out in November, clean 4 years
Yeah.
into the cycle.
Well, the do we need it thing is kind of a silly question. Like this thing's low volume. It's not meant to be sold in mass. PS4 Pro is 1 in every 5 consoles sold on average. It's more for Sony to retain high value customers, people that are dedicated PlayStation customers that are going to spend a lot on the store, have a PS Plus subscription. So do we need, if you don't need it, then nobody's making you buy it. Having said that, I thought at the start of this generation, we would not get one, if only because we're kind of in a diminishing return landscape. The very reason why we're having this question of do we need it? I agree. I think we don't necessarily need it per se, but the angle I always approach it from is if we have a mid-cycle update this generation, you're kind of taking away what a PlayStation 6 can do. That was always my line of thinking, and apparently Microsoft does kind of feel like they're probably in the same position because we don't have any word that they're doing a mid-cycle update. In fact, the rumor for them now is that they're just going to launch brand new, like a proper next generation cycle by around 2026, which would then undercut Sony, where they're trying to aim for what I understand it to be around 2027, 28. So, and the thing is too, it's a year delay from what we saw with PS4 Pro. So I guess in theory, I mean, this thing wasn't on the same timetable as PS4 Pro, because the other question is what is this thing going to cost? Right now, the company is struggling to get MSRP down on PlayStation 5. So I don't think we're going to see the same scenario of, the standard console having a proper MSRP price cut and then the Pro slotting in at the original MSRP. We're probably going to get stuck with something that's above 500, especially given what they're planning on cramming into this thing. But look, when that thing is priced at 600 and people are asking, do we need it? Like, you don't. I mean, it's the thing. This thing's going to push frame rates, ideally, especially with the PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, which is honestly kind of a good thing for Sony. It's in their interest to start, having their own sort of household name for ML AI enhancements for resolution, having some efficiency there. They're shipping PC games now, so you might want to be in that space right next to FSR and DLSS. That's probably in their best interest anyway. So that's kind of where I sit on the whole thing.
They're going to rent a stage and they're going to do the $5.99 thing again. And they're going to pull it off this time. Don't worry about it.
I know
it's going to be great.
I almost feel like they're going to want to avoid that price tag purely. Well, I don't know. Who really cares in the grand scheme of things? But price wise, I think it would be tough to see this thing being less than 600.
I got it at 600. I do wonder if it's going to come with a disk drive. I am inclined to believe it will, because they might have some sort of Blu-ray introduction as well if they're going to keep physical media for 8K.
It's a Pro machine. It's got to have. I mean,
I want to say it would, but maybe they're like, it has to be 600 and you're going to have to buy a Blu-ray separately if you want it.
So, John, it's still an 80-20 split at retail. Primarily, they sell disc consoles.
Yeah,
they primarily sell disc consoles, and software still does reasonably well for PlayStation. The hierarchy is Nintendo. They sell a lot of physical, then Sony, then Xbox. To completely cut out, physical, especially for what is a dedicated audience, right? You're selling to a hardcore customer. You don't want to. I would be shocked if it didn't have a disc drive.
So it would be $100 more than the current one. Like, we're going to just go up $100 because the current one has a disc drive. We had 500. We'll go up $100 to 6.
That's what I suspect. I mean, I don't think much is going to change from here to now. I mean, we just had a fiscal report with them on record saying, like, we are having trouble getting the price down on this thing. Because right now it's like die shrinks is how they always saved money on the box. And that's just not happening anymore with the fabrication process. So, I mean, whether this thing moves over to a new process size or not really doesn't matter. It seems like they just cannot get this thing any cheaper. The only wiggle room they have is just doing these like sales that they're doing right now, where you can get one for $450 for a disc console. I mean, it seems like that's the only wiggle room they have, is dropping it by like $50.
Josie, what do you think about the PS5 Pro?
I just think it's super pointless, but I mean, you kind of covered everything. I personally will not be buying it because I don't need it, and I just feel like they got to put out some games, man. Like, I know we got like Rise of Ronin, but I don't know. Like, I just feel like there has to be some more offering there. Like, most of the games can't even utilize all of the PlayStation like capacity anyways, right? So like, what are we doing? Like, going up when games can't keep up with it, I guess.
4K 60 on Rebirth.
Well, that's
what I'm
cool.
looking for. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you want something that's going to like sustain high frame rates, that's probably how they're going to, I mean, that and the whole PSSR thing, they're probably going to try and build as that. And also the ray tracing capability, which at the very least, if you really care about, you know, how pretty some games can look, then that might be something we'll actually see now. Ray tracing is so intensive on console hardware that typically it's always for fidelity modes, and people don't want to play fidelity modes because they're locked at 30.
They're slower. Yeah.
So it's, yeah, I mean, that's, you'd be paying, it's like getting into the PC landscape. You're just spending a little bit more to get a little bit more out of your games. I mean, the other thing too, which I'm sure we're going to get to eventually, but it's a matter of like, you know, Grand Theft Auto 6. It's a big third-party game. And Sony is now going to be the premier way to play this game if you're a console buyer. So, I mean, it's hard to argue that that's not a smart play to ship this thing, especially because you'll have it out by then, right? It'll be a whole year that it's on the market before GTA 6 comes. So I think there will be a lot of interest in it, maybe more so than we saw with PS4 Pro. I'm sure it'll still be low volume, but I would imagine it's going to do reasonably well.
I feel like PS4 Pro, what was the split on that? It wasn't like, it was
1
like
to 5.
10 to, what was that?
1 in 5, about
1 in 5, 20, about 20%. Yeah. Okay. All right.
And it came in much later. I mean, like from the Insomniac breach, we know it was like around, I think they sold like 13 million something, I think, if that's the number I remember correctly. And we're talking about 115 something million PS4s.
Right.
So it's like, when we keep asking, do we need it? No, you probably don't, unless you really care about that sort of thing.
Right. And I just see it more as an option anyway. It's, if you don't like the games, they're not going to develop specifically for this thing. It's going to be for both systems. So if like
every
to me,
game,
it's just keep
every game will have a PS5 standard mode.
Yeah. Yeah. What, OJ, what do you think? You getting a PS5 Pro?
Yeah, because I forgot what happened, but I think like my PS5 did like a flip and like hit the ground, and then it jacked up the HDMI to where the HDMI cord like doesn't, like the HDMI doesn't like stay in there normally.
Oh no!
I'm more interested in why you're saying you forget this. Was there
I don't know
involved?
No, there was no alcohol. I think I was like watching Cobra Kai and I was like doing some of the kicks.
You just jumped up and
you're acting out Cobra Kai while
you're doing the kicks is crazy.
Yeah, I was doing the kicks. I was something like that, and then like I remember kicking like my desk, and then my PS5 definitely did hit a flip, and then that's how it broke. So I definitely want a new PS5.
Crane kick too strong, man. Crane kick too
no,
strong.
it wasn't the old. It wasn't that. It wasn't the old school crank. It was like one of the new kicks, like one of the like
the new kick. The new
Yeah.
kick just dropped. All right.
So I decided to try it, and I know that's something like that. That's the way how my PS5 broke. So, or it didn't break. It still works. Like I'm still playing Rebirth on my PS5. But yeah. So I'm in the market for a new one. So I was thinking about just buying another PS5, but then I was like, wait a minute, they're probably gonna do like a PS5 Pro. And like I said, this was like a year ago that this happened, like a year or two ago. So I was like, they'll probably make a PS5 Pro. So whenever they do, I'll get that one. So yeah,
does the HDMI port, it still stays in there? It's just you got to hold it at a certain angle or
it
something?
just if you put any type of resistance against it, it'll go out. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So it's kind of like cracked on the back of it. It still works perfectly fine though. But yeah, that's what happened. I kicked my desk, or I kicked something and it definitely flipped, and then unfortunate.
You got to start doing that on stream. That'd be a great clip.
I don't want
Like
to
a
break
Kai
all my. Yeah. When he kicked, what was it? When Nicki Minaj was there? And he kicked the desk.
It like broke all of his monitors.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. But yeah, I kicked it on accident. It was an accidental kick.
what people think about the idea of them? So we're talking about frame rate, right? So we're gonna get this thing, we're gonna get 4K 60 hopefully out of it, with maybe upscaling involved to get it there if needed for certain games. What about 8K though? Is it? I'm trying to figure out how many people out there were like excited seeing 8K in the mix. Like, I don't.
5 total people.
I just
It's an eye roll, total eye roll moment.
I don't really know anyone who is pushing for 8K like that. Like I've looked around heavily in the enthusiast, even on like PC, where people might be doing 8K gaming with the, like the top of the line stuff. Everyone's like, no, we're kind of doing 1440p or 4K. That's kind of it.
We don't even care about the ultra wide stuff we're getting, and that's cool, but don't care. Just give me a 1440p, 60 frames, 120 if you can. Oh, that'd be great.
I kind of feel like this is Sony also as a company. Like, can we get this 8K stuff rolling? Can we make a flagship product like a PS5 Pro that maybe adds content? Because that's the biggest problem for me. There's no real 8K content. Even if I wanted the TV, like, what do I do with it? Like, I don't know. I just watch 4K content on it, I guess. I'm not sure. So that's it in my mind.
I like you got to have games to back that up, right? Like this next God of War is going to be fully 8K, and then we can maybe go into that. But I just feel like we're pushing so much hardware, and like I said, just none of the games are taking any advantage of it. So it just doesn't make any sense to me.
What if GTA 6 said that they had an 8K mode on the PS5 Pro?
How would it run, right? Like that's
30
how's the frame rate?
10
How's
frames
the
a
frame
second, the
rate?
fans would kick in, and your console would just hover slightly above the ground.
Well, it would
that ish would take off like flight, bro. That would be gone.
My PS4 Pro would try to take off a couple times. So, but I think that's if I was Sony and I was going to make a third-party deal, that's the one. I'd say, hey, we're going to give you access to these things early, and we're gonna rely on you to make some kind of pro mode for our system with GTA 6. I think GTA 6 would be really big for this, as you kind of mentioned, Ryan. It's like this is the console, because it's not going to be on PC right away. They've already said they're doing consoles first. So you look around for the most powerful console to give you the best experience, and I would even try to get marketing for this with it. Like at the end, it zooms out.
I think they will.
Right next to it.
Sony had it with GTA 5 when it came out, 2013 PS3. So I would have to imagine they're probably doing the same thing. If there's anything that they're willing to pony up the cash for, it would probably be that.
We did have one other thing. Tom Henderson dropped on Twitter that it's using, or X, that it's using the same case, the same design the dev kits are as the PS5. How different do you think this thing's gonna look? Is it gonna be like 2 columns, or I'm trying to picture it. People are like, it's like the double stack Oreo sandwich. Like, people are just trying to come up with ways of how they can conceptualize its look. And I don't know if it's gonna be exact.
Just completely revamp it and make it look better and normal, and like it can actually stand up without a stand, and not this maniac of an ugly.
I won't stand for this slander.
So ugly, bro.
I won't stand for this.
Okay,
Yeah,
it looks
Ryan,
like
you
Elon
like
Musk
the
made
look
it.
of
That's like
the
something
like
Elon
it.
would make.
System.
It looks so cool. It looks so ridiculous and contemporary and cheesy, and I think it's cool.
It's like when in the 90s they thought like the 2000s technology was going to be, that's what we got.
And it is. We have it now.
No, it's not. It's
Back to the Future.
yeah,
there. Look at it.
straight out of Back to the Future.
Tell me that Oreo doesn't look delicious. I've tried to eat it a few times already.
It looks like a Comcast router. Like,
Yeah, it does. It looks like a router.
It's
It's massive.
I'm curious if it
The
will.
system can't get any bigger, can it?
I'm curious if it will, because the Slim's slightly smaller. I'm curious if it just goes back to the size that the launch model is.
Okay. I feel like you got to differentiate some way. Maybe it's not as rounded. Maybe they go for like sharp edges on it, or I don't know. I'm trying to think of how they can.
No sharp edges.
So sharp. It's like a razor.
I need places for my kicks. I don't want to cut my foot when I'm doing my kicks.
yeah, next time you kick it, fights back. It's going for you.
Cut my foot open on my kicks.
Next time, OJ.
I'm just trying to think of ways they can make it different, because it's not going to change the color. I assume it's still going to be like the contrasting white and then black. Although I guess they could play around with like a blue in there or something.
I guarantee you it'll look pretty funky. It's just that's the Sony hardware design team. That's what they do. The consoles are always just they approach it from a very different way of
their
trying
most
to,
normal looking console is like the PS3 in terms of like main home console, right? That's like the one
PS2
that.
was pretty normal. The slim.
No, that thing was
The
ugly.
slim. The slim.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking like when they first launched.
Well, each machine has like sort of design elements to it. You know, every
Yeah.
PS2 has that ridge design, right? Every
I hated
PS3
that.
has
I
the
thought it was
sort of
ugly.
every PS3 has the silhouette with the disk drive flanking the main body where it kind of has it's convex.
Well, wasn't the theory that they're all designed after buildings in real life? Like you can almost match them to actual physical buildings and cities.
I thought
for
I saw
Something
visual
goes back to
resolution.
the PS2.
Yeah, I thought I
Yeah.
saw something on the M4G about that back in the day.
Yeah.
Next one is like the San Francisco Bridge. That'd be epic.
There's a building in Toronto that looks like a PlayStation 4 Pro.
Is there what? Is there a
straight
picture
up
of it online?
Yeah, it straight up looks like a PS4 Pro.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm curious what that looks like.
You probably just type Toronto PS4 Pro building and it's going to show up.
So, okay, holiday 2024 PS5 Pro. I'm in for one. I'll be getting one, obviously, but we'll also tear it down and see what we got going on. I'm curious about the engineering. If this thing is really that powerful and they're trying to fit it into a little box, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So that'll be fun. What do you think they pair a first party game with it? Like with the PS4 Pro, they were showing it off with a bunch of different games. When I went back and looked at the original trailer, they just showed it with a bunch of games that were either coming up or already out, and that was kind of their strategy there.
Yes, as far as game support, like the first party's got the dev kits for this thing a while ago. They've already got it. They've been, they're going to be, I imagine a handful of studios will have, day one patches ready for the thing. And so, because
game in studio I would like to see show up day one with a game for it is a Team Asobi.
Well, I think they're going to ship something fairly soon. So I would imagine that would be in time for PS5 Pro.
VR Astrobot.
Let's just say they did an Astro game, but it wasn't VR or nothing like that. It was just a new Astro game. That is one that I feel like would clean up really nicely, look really, really sharp in 8K if they want to go that route. And Team Asobi is very good, seemingly, with taking advantage of unique hardware. And while this isn't VR or something like that, I think they could make a really cool looking 3D platformer for that newer hardware. Just kind of take advantage of it. They did a really good job showing off the DualSense.
Rift Apart will probably look beautiful on it. I'll say that.
Oh, yeah, that's another one. Yeah. That Spider-Man 2, God of War, they'll all look really good. So we'll see. And these patches are just going to be provided, right? These aren't like
$20.
Just like PS4 Pro.
Okay, good. I didn't just making sure. We'll see if we get any other information though coming out, as again, it's added to the portal. GDC is this week. Might be some more talks around games maybe that are going to get patches or targeting launch. So we will find out. This is I'll go back to some of the super chats here. This was Schultz who says, imagine if they released unfinished Hollywood movies in theaters with missing audio, graphical bugs, etc., and told audiences to fix them at a future date.
Isn't that what the director's cut is eventually?
Kind of like they add more stuff in. I guess. This is from Gingerbread. What became a member? Thank you, Gingerbread. We have Victor says, John, thanks for bringing the GOAT and King of PlayStation Ryan to the show. Can't wait.
King of PlayStation right here.
Wow.
For that juicy, beefy PS5 Pro to drop this year. Do y'all think Sony decided to do a PS5 Pro to show off GTA 6?
Well, they didn't decide it off that alone. Thank you, by the way. It's way too kind of you. But now this thing was probably in the oven for a while.
Yeah. As soon as that PS5 came out, they're probably like, all right, let's do the Pro. Let's see what we can make. So.
Are you sure they
by the
don't
way,
just like think about this stuff overnight and just say, "Oh,
Yeah.
there's a game coming"? GTA 6, make a strong system. Sorry,
there was something. Oh, and shout out to Alex Manning for becoming a member. Thank you, Alex. And then Micah says, "Go, let's go Knicks." I did want to bring this up actually, Ryan, before we moved on from this, the PS5 Pro stuff. You mentioned the jump between this could make the jump between the PS5 and the PS6 less impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because it was kind of the same thing to a degree from the PS4 Pro to the PS5 because it's still 4K. Whereas if we were still working with that baseline PS4 and went right to the PS5, that would have felt substantial in terms of a jump. But I do wonder if the PS5 Pro is more or less going to show us where consoles are going to kind of plateau with visuals in terms of resolution, even kind of frame rates. If 8K doesn't catch on, I don't really know where else we go from 4K 60 at that 4K 120, I guess. I don't really know where we go at that point. And there's been a lot of talk about AI from Microsoft, from Sony, and they're putting an AI accelerator chip on the board. While I think that's for upscaling, I do wonder if their next big push is going to be they're going to have like a serious like AI acceleration chip on the board for the next system, still more capable than the PS5 Pro, but it just kind of opens the door to all this talk we hear about artificial intelligence and doing other things in games in different worlds that we can't even really conceptualize yet. And that's like the big jump. It's not necessarily visuals because we're kind of hitting the roof realistically for what we can do.
Could you imagine what Kojima could do with that? It'd be funny.
That I'm trying to. It's hard. It's tough because we go, oh yeah, AI, but then I try to figure out what exactly it would do for us, and I'm having a hard time knowing what the capabilities would be for a chip like that with Sony putting it on the board day one and developers knowing it's there and can use it.
Well, if they force you to have the camera like they tried, and they could look around your room and give you proper advertisements the way it wants.
It's a good point though to bring up. That's what I thought the whole time. I mean, when the generation started, I thought like we don't need a PS5 Pro in the sense that you're going to really fill in this gap that reasonably a PS6 can eventually do some really cool things. Again, like it seems like Microsoft maybe had the same line of thinking. Like they're not doing it. It wasn't a surefire thing that they were both doing mid-cycle updates. I think it's always important to remember, like, we're already kind of there, as you were suggesting. Like, to be honest, the ceiling on this is only studios that can afford to do this in the first place. There are only a few studios and publishers that can even fund games to push these boxes to like get these visually stunning masterpiece games that also run reasonably well. Like that's the ceiling. Vast majority of games coming out, like what 14,000 something games came out last year on Steam or something. It's like they're all fairly modest in terms of how they look and how they run and how they play. Like, but big blockbusters are so far and few between. So I just always thought like we're already at that ceiling. Why take away from what a PS6 can do? Also financially, this thing's going to be a lot of money. So, but it really is I think it really just comes down to a frame rate thing, frame rate and resolution.
Yeah. I'm playing Rebirth right now. And I got to tell you, I'm looking around like, I don't know how much better these visuals have to get, because if I had performance mode with those, like the assets and stuff you have in the graphics mode where it looks very clean, but then 60 frames, I'm thinking this is kind of it. Like, I don't know if things need to go any further. I don't know. And I know that is technically a collaboration to get it done between Sony and Square. So it's not even necessarily one company behind it. Like two companies had to get it done for this trilogy. But still, if we get to a point where that's considered like basic, then it's like, okay, where have we gone then? Because it's ridiculous. So
I will say on the topic of Rebirth, that is a fascinating example of how so many people will swear and live by the words of, I don't care what it takes. I want 60 frames per second. I don't care. Drop the resolution. Give it to me. And this is the game where you see a lot of people now saying, yeah, but not that bad.
Yeah,
So,
it is. It's kind of
like,
rough.
Look, if you want, like, if we want to answer that question, do you need one? If you're that bothered by
I do. I need it.
Yeah. If you're that bothered by the performance mode, then you have an option.
Yes. I mean, I was going to get it already, but yes, I do need it. Absolutely. I need it. Well, I need it now though, because I'm 50 hours into Rebirth. So I'm going to be done Rebirth.
Yeah, you need it immediately, like right now.
But this has opened my eyes to GTA 6. So I do need it for that.
Probably.
I don't want to play that performance mode now that I'm looking at what I'm seeing with Rebirth.
I do wonder if that game's going to ship with a 60 mode outside of PS5 Pro.
It's going to be a cinematic 25.
Cinematic 25.
What if
it'll run like GTA 4 did on PS3?
Oh yeah.
What if 60 FPS was exclusive to the PS5 Pro?
Dude, scalpers galore.
That would get kind of ugly in terms of scalping. Oof. Well, we'll see. This is from Watchtower. It says, easy. Bandai Namco makes the next PlayStation All-Stars. Oh, they seem
Bandai
pretty tied up
Namco?
right now. They seem
It'd
pretty
be like
tied up.
Tekken, like play like Tekken. or
Which
Pokken.
Hey.
Bandai like? Hey, hold up, how? Who from Bandai? What team?
Yeah, they're pretty tied up right now. Bandai's doing a lot right now.
Yeah, they're probably making the next Smash Brothers game right now too.
Yeah, they're
And
stretched
I
pretty thin.
doubt Nintendo's contract will allow them to also make another game just like it, or that's like kind of like it. But hey, you never know.
The one thing about a PlayStation All Stars is that like if anything could rival Smash, that could. Like if it's done well, you know.
Well, they have the characters.
Yeah, they
that
have
we
the
would play.
IP to support it. Like that's the issue with a lot of these games. They play well. Brawlhalla's good, but like where's the legacy, right?
Yeah, but I don't know if they have the thirsty fans that Nintendo has that makes
Yeah,
Smash.
That's
I
true,
don't
that's
know-
true.
I don't know if they have the IPs that like that type of game to play. Like, yeah, they like Sony IPs, but do they like them fighting and jumping around platforms and
it's
you
not-
know?
There's not gonna be a lot of people wilding out for Nathan Drake beating someone up at a brawl. Like it's
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. Like it,
Well,
it
you
looks
would.
kind of goofy,
That-
right?
I-
Also,
Nathan Drake's a big one, but going to PS All Stars though, most people can't name half the roster on PlayStation All Stars
yeah.
because then you get really niche. You got Patapon in there, you've got Cat from Gravity Rush. Some of those characters are just, yeah, it's not quite like what Nintendo can pull off as far as
They-
recognition goes.
they do have Evo now, though, so they could.
Yeah, so they could shove it in people down people's
They could
throats.
push it at Evo. They could. This is. Oh, went to buy this from Cricket. Who says went to buy Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Deluxe Physical. Why is it being scalped?
Because there's
Oh,
not
no,
a
is
lot
it?
of them. It's
Oh
deluxe
no!
physical. Why? You guys know Final Fantasy VII Intergrade was also scalped and hard to find too on the PS5.
Yeah, now it's valuable. It's like 90
now
bucks.
Yeah, so like, yeah, people were gonna. I kept mine sealed too because I already knew it was gonna happen.
Because OJ's a scalper.
I'm not a scalper.
I'm gonna sell it.
I am not a well. I mean, no, I resell sometimes, but I'm not a scalper. I didn't buy like 7 copies of it.
Only like 3.
I did, but I bought 2. I bought 2.
This is
Micro scalper.
Dodging the
T-Joe.
allegations.
Dodgy scalper.
T-Joe says worth noting that Tennis 64 had quartz you get from clearing the Game Boy Color mini games, not to mention your Game Boy Color characters. Those aren't in the NSO release. There you go. They should activate transfer pack. T-Joe, I gotcha. Silver says, "Who is going to Too Many Games IRL podcast panel?" We should have a podcast panel there. I'm going. Evan may or may not go. We're not sure yet. Ryan will be there. Sean will be there.
I'm gonna
Josie's
try.
actually going to be there.
Yep.
Oja's
We
going
gotta
to
try to get
be
a-
there.
We gotta try to get a room for the panel this time instead of just being in that open area with the freaking techno blasting off to the side. That was nuts.
I do like the smaller, like the rooms they give us. Those are the panel rooms. Those are nice.
Those are
I think they're
great.
trying to do a lot of stuff on stages though, because they have a full sound crew now. But I don't know, we'll see. We'll see where they put us. But I think we're doing that, and we'll probably do the signing, like meet and greet thing too. So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Too Many Games is fun every year. So
I'm
it'll be a good
hyped. I've
time.
never been over there, so
Oh, okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. Especially because we'll be near Philly, so you can kind of like make like a day out of it on
Mhm.
Monday or something if you stay an extra day or something.
yeah,
like
that's
that.
what I was
But
thinking.
otherwise,
I have a friend in New
yeah.
York, so I was thinking maybe I stay a little bit longer because she said it's like an hour train ride or something. I was like, I've never been to New
About,
York.
yeah.
That could be really cool.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd go to New York for, like I said, Woods thing, and it was just like, oh, okay, I'll just drive up to New York. So for a train ride, it's even easier. So, this is from Yum Yum, who says, "I'm still waiting for Kit and Krista for a guest." Yeah, I think Sean reached out to him. He's working on it.
For Game and Talk, we should get him on Game and Talk.
Yeah, I think I was talking about that. I thought that'd be funny. Should do that. Wishbone says RGT85 Spartan console last update 2021. We will let him know. This is from RoboCop saying, "Hey John, are you going to paint that wire cover on the wall under your TV? Love you all." I don't think so because it's going to be moving when I get the new. I think there's new LG coming up. There was a new OLED set that I was looking at that's a little larger than this one that I might do in a few months, in preparation, of course, for the PS5 Pro. Rich says Concord will be bundled with PS5 Pro. Book it. Bundled with the PS5 Pro. I don't know if maybe like released next to it, maybe. I don't know if they're gonna put it in the box. I don't know if they'll put it in the box. But live service, who knows what Sony's gonna do with it? We'll see. Alvin says, how are we even having the do we need it conversation when 30 FPS games still litter the high-end console market? Am I in a bubble and not aware? Well, I think Rebirth is opening a lot of people's minds a bit. But we started, I think it's because we started the generation, the cross-gen period went like a solid 2.5, 3 years, right? I mean, it was going for a while. And we were getting a lot of 60 FPS games then because they were games developed with PS4 in mind even, and pushes the PS5 and look, you got 60 and it looks pretty good. Now it's like, okay, you're getting 60, but man, that resolution slider gets turned down. Yeah. So
seems like a skill issue with the games. That's all I just don't understand it.
I think we had a lot of 60 games. It's kind of a strange comment. Most high-end console games are 60.
Well, like Dragon's Dogma 2, that's going to be just 30. They're going to leave it on cap.
That's apparently like the one thing, right? That's the big conversation around that game is we finally have one that's only 30. Like the only other one I can think of, and I'm sure there's more, but like Control when it initially came out was only 30, I think. Right? And then Alan Wake 2, 30 as well. They have
a 60 FPS mode for that. That's
when it came out, right?
Yes, but that's when I noticed when I put it on the performance, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is definitely performance mode. Like the resolution sliders keep getting turned more and more down as we've gone along to attain 60. So I just don't know if the trade-off is worth it. They're obviously doing a lot of visual effects where they're using ray tracing or other things. I am starting to wonder if those are really worth the trade-off for dropping those resolution sliders so much to where we're starting to notice it. I don't know. It's how shiny does the wall need to look, for running around? I don't know. Future Millionaire says, John, with diminishing returns, are developers purposely releasing underdeveloped systems so a few years later they can release an upgraded version so they can double dip that market? Developed systems, diminishing returns, or developers. I think the PS5 was as good as Sony could get, and I think the Xbox Series X was as good as Microsoft could get it at that time. And I think it only got harder actually as the generation went along with the supply shortage and things that happened. So I think Sony would have been normally, as you said, Ryan, moving the price in the other direction. Technically, they kind of moved the price up to $450 from $400 when they did the slim revision thing. They kind of played around with it a little bit and like, hey, we're gonna $450 now. So, and Nintendo never dropped their price. Like that, we're in this weird period where consoles are not really getting cheaper at all throughout their generation. They're just it's very different now.
Nintendo's an important one. That hardware shipped in 2017. It has not seen an official price cut.
Yeah.
Only a soft price cut with a separate, light version coming out. So like you could get that, but otherwise we're in a different economy.
And Needles becoming a YouTube member. Shout out. Jorge says, what do you think Final Fantasy can learn from series like Zelda, Elden Ring, and God of War to find that breakthrough success they've achieved in recent years? Oh, that is tough. That's
a loaded question.
That is a loaded question. I don't think you want to emulate anything. You want to carve out your own path.
Well, that's the thing, because the big thing all of those different games did was change the formula, which Final Fantasy did. So like what does it need to learn beyond that? Like it changed the formula. It just didn't pick the right formula, I guess. I don't know.
Tijo says, I know y'all diss the FPS, but in Rebirth on quality mode, what do y'all think of the actual graphics fidelity? I think it looks good. Graphics mode, I do. I think it looks very good. And it's just feels like it's underwater when you're in battle. So kind of an issue. But visually speaking,
it's hard to do perfect blocks. It's hard to, like when you're fighting against tougher enemies. It's just that, I don't know. I can't play it in that quality mode.
But if like that quality mode was 60, I would say this is great. It looks awesome, plays well. Like that's the visual fidelity where I'm thinking, I don't know how much better this really needs to get, or how much, like, are we going to notice if it gets better? I'm not sure. It's tough. People are having a hard time looking at Intergrade and then Rebirth, and they're like, I don't know why this is running so much. I don't get it. Like, what's different, really, other than the open world, I guess. But I see it online a lot, so let's. I do want to bring this up, Ryan. Another PS5 topic here. Oh, this is for Spider-Man.
Oh, the leak.
The trailer got out there, and I don't know if this is from the Insomniac leak and people found it or something else happened. It is. Okay.
Yeah. Because it was 1.7 terabytes of data and 1 million files. So, like, we found out about this game, like, I think that weekend that the breach happened because it was from slides. But I guess what happened was somebody finally stumbled upon the trailer, which now there's 2 of them, I think. There's one that's less finished than the other one. It's
the Spider-Man, The Great Web, I believe is what it's called. And it is their multiplayer game. It looked like it had 5 different Spider-Man you could play as. Like in one room, it looked like, and you were kind of jumping around, swinging, of course, through like New York City. And this one hurt a bit, I'll admit. It looked kind of cool. Like the idea of them having this multiplayer Spider-Man game that plays into the Spider-Verse stuff and all the customization, and I'm sure in their mind monetization they could do, but just in general, the idea of it, there's a lot of potential there. And that trailer, it looked like if they just showed it right now at a state of play, it looks like it's ready to show. So they,
I would be less excited for multiplayer Spider-Man, but that's just me.
Really? Okay.
I'm pretty hyped.
Okay, less excited for multiplayer Spider-Man. You're still like the single player. Leading person.
I like it as a single player game. Yeah, I mean, if there's anything I wish we could see come out, it was actually Last of Us multiplayer. But Spider-Man would have been just as strong as a property. But I mean, this thing is probably just getting turned into something else. I think that's sort of, I don't want to say obvious, but like they're not going to just throw away that project. So whatever sort of technology and foundation they built for the online infrastructure, they're just trying to roll it into something else probably and reuse assets. And so I don't think this thing's completely dead in the way that we think it is, but it'll probably show up again in something else.
I was trying to figure. A lot of people were wondering, because it looks like they at least had enough done to where they made a trailer like this. What happened? Why it got canceled or put on the back burner, or maybe pulled apart, as you mentioned, to recycle for a mode or a different game or something. And why do you think it was canceled, Ryan?
It probably just didn't pass through some sort of review phase.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to speculate too much because it really could be a number of things, and I don't know at what point this would have happened with, and maybe it's in the breach somewhere, and somebody could correct me if it's already out there, but I don't know at what point Bungie might have stepped in as part of a review process, or if it was just something where it was only through Sony internally before Bungie had a look at it. But it could be like there's something wrong with the long-term in-game economy, how you're going to monetize it, how much staff you're going to need to support it, because it's going to be a big undertaking. You're going to need so many staff, and that could pull away resources from their other projects, which we had that leak out as well, like the sort of pipeline they have for the next 10 years. And also, obviously, the company did layoffs. So it's not like they had resources to really go around, when now we have the context that the Ratchet team might be suffering a bit, maybe the Wolverine team. So it probably a number of things is why this was not going to get off the ground, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I also wonder how much work would have been involved to hold up this live service game. Like that's why Naughty Dog said that they decided to back away from that Last of Us. They had to decide, are we going to be a single player or are we a multiplayer studio? We're going to be single player. And I also think about it this way. I feel like Marvel would have had to have at least had a pretty serious involvement with updates, since you have to run a lot of stuff by them. Like everything has to go through them, because they're building out this set. People seem to think that, and they just have this impression that Sony just owns Spider-Man completely. Like everything goes through Sony, and it's like, well, no, they have like the film rights, whereas Marvel has everything else. Like that's it. And so the merchandise, even the games, I mean, technically are licensed from Marvel to Sony. So apparently with Star Wars, Disney is a real I would say annoyance, but a problem almost with that, to where you have to go to them for different colored lightsabers or hilt changes, anything there. So in this case, with them doing Spider-Verse, and I have to assume a ridiculous amount of outfits and web shooters, whatever, right? Everything has to go through them. And I feel like that might even hold up some of their live service ambitions, but it basically seems like it would have been an entire project that a studio with that like we saw the roadmap. I just don't even know where this would fit in with how much it would take up.
I think it was a lot, pretty much holistically. I'm sure a lot of this was like going against this thing being viable. Marvel's a good point though. They'd have to run everything by them. Even before the breach, there were job listings suggesting that, hey, we're hiring for multiplayer. Like they weren't ever being secretive about that. We knew they were doing a multiplayer game, but the job listings would have a line in there saying like, oh, you have experience abiding by an existing universe. Okay, well, it's probably Marvel. So they're probably doing something Marvel related, which means everything's gonna go through them. The insane licensing fees, and how is that gonna, cut into the bottom line for the in-game economy? There's probably so many things that in the end, it's like we cannot move forward with this.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I would have at least just liked to have seen what would have happened with it. This getting out there just makes things some of the possibilities. Last of Us, though, that is one I would like to at least see leak out, just to see what they had exactly. Like, I don't know. I feel like it was really good. Just unfortunately.
What I heard is that it was really fun to play. Like they figured out the gameplay loop.
Oh man, that's unfortunate.
It was so fun. They wanted nobody else to play it. It's like, you guys can't have this experience. Screw y'all.
Damn, this shit hits. We can't let anybody play this.
It's too good, bro.
there had to be the guy that realized like it's so fun that all games coming out after it, people might play less, and then they're like, "Oh God, we're going to sell less," and then
we're going to go out of business with this game.
Did the industry a favor.
Yeah, man.
Do you think that the Spider-Man thing could be sort of like they saw the warning signs from Rocksteady at all? Or just like...
I think Sony would feel pretty confident in Insomniac.
Okay.
Assuming that they like went through with it. But I think there's just a lot up against this game.
Yeah. Insomniac has a lot to worry about right now. That's not this game that would have sucked up a lot of their time. And we know they have Wolverine. People already like ported that game to PC, so it's like already out there technically. But that, and then the rest of their roadmap, which people can look up. But it's they're doing like a game every 2 years almost, or a spinoff of some kind. It's like Insomniac release. So
Must be kind of annoying dealing with Marvel and all their stuff, though, man. Like every game, you got to sit there and deal with that crap. Must be kind of annoying.
They at least will have another Ratchet game, so they'll get to do something there. And it sounds like they might even do something else outside of that. What was it? I think they had something else on there, Ryan, that was, I don't know if it was original, like their new original IP, like way off in the distance, but there was mention of something there. So they're like the Marvel studio right now, but there's a lot of trust involved with that. That's not something I assume Sony takes lightly. So.
I mean, I think they've got a great relationship with Marvel's, as far as I understand it. They wouldn't want to do it if it was going sour, or if they were a pain to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me go. I will bring up the Persona 6 stuff because Nate did mention this on Direct Xbox last night when it aired, that he had heard Persona 6 was going to Xbox. He wasn't 100% sure if it was same day, like day and date release, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch 2 potentially, PC. But he did say that they are planning it for Xbox. It's not going to be like with Persona 5, where it was on PlayStation specifically, PS3 and PS4 when it came out then. So we will have it on Xbox, which, as you mentioned, OJ, it makes sense considering the big push that Microsoft has had so far with Atlas and Sega. So Persona 6 going to Xbox seems like a big deal for them. And Midori did come in over on X and corroborate. So now everyone believes Nate. So there you go. Just needed the hat, apparently. But this is an interesting one because I think Persona 6 is... I think this is going to be a major announcement and release for Atlas. Like probably the biggest thing they've really done.
Yeah.
Big time. After 5,
Yes, yeah.
this is big.
How many people even played Persona 1 and 2? And now look where the
Nobody.
franchise is. Yeah, now look where the
Nobody.
franchise is. It's crazy.
I played it, but I don't like those. I don't
One
like
of the
those games
3
that
people.
much.
I know, even if they played it, they hated them.
Yeah, I don't like Persona 1 and 2 at all. They need some I mean, it's not that it's terrible. It's just it feels like just like a really ghetto version of like SMT.
But now look where the franchise is. It's insane. Like 6 is going to that's going to be crazy when that gets announced. And I feel like when it releases, we're going to hear pretty quickly that it sold millions and millions of copies. So
Yeah,
that
it's
is
gonna be good.
that's big time. And they've been holding out. They've been holding off on this for a while. I feel like they're going to show up with something pretty impressive with Persona 6. So I'm excited to see what it is. And it's cool to hear that I think this is going to just be a full multi-plat game across the board. So I'm assuming PlayStation, Xbox. I'm just gonna say Nintendo for now, although I would assume Switch too. And I wouldn't be shocked if it showed up with PC. Like the thing that wouldn't surprise me is if we're waiting so long for this because they are planning to release it on multiple different platforms all at once, which will only increase their reach. And I think again we'll take Persona to the next level. So
Yeah.
that's exciting stuff for Persona fans.
I feel like they got a decent fan base on Switch, so they'd want to maybe capitalize on that. Like a lot of people play Persona. Like OJ, do you mostly play it on Switch? Or you?
I've played it on Switch, yeah, but
Okay.
I mostly played it on PS4 and PS5 because it came out on there first. Like PS4 twice. I'm trying to count up all the times that I beat this game or I played this game. But yeah, I mainly because it usually comes out on PlayStation first, right? Like if you go back to like all the Personas for the most part, but like Persona 3 that was on PS2, so I'll always play it on PlayStation first, and I'm kind of just used to it on there. So I usually get it like like Persona 5 Royal. I got it on Switch and I played it. It's fine, but I played like the PS5 version more, just because I'm used to it on there. But yeah, like I still will support it if it comes to Nintendo. Like Switch 2, like absolutely, I definitely like play it on there more, just because Switch 2 would be like a little bit better system than Switch, right? Would be able to offer.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely played on there. But I mean, obviously Switch 2, I mean, if this game depends on when this game comes out, right? Like when Switch 2 come in, like I mean, I'm gonna play it on PS5, right? Like if the Switch 2 is not launched and this game launches before that, I mean, obviously I'm just gonna play it on PS5. So
If Atlas was smart, they would do a cross. They do cross save just across all their platforms because it's interesting. Persona 3, and I noticed this when I started playing it. They have a network save option. And the idea is you go between PS4 and PS5 easily with it. So you save it to the network slot and you just jump between both systems. And
yeah, I've been saying this for a while. People don't like when I say this, but like every game needs like these, like if they can. I know it's not easy to do. MVG said it's not easy, but like if you can have cross save, like please have cross save. So if I get like one version, or if let's say I want to get like a PS5 Pro version and play it on my TV, that's cool. Then I want to get like a Switch 2 version so I can play that portable more, right? Without having to use like a portal. That would be awesome. Like Ubisoft does it for like almost all their games, or pretty much all their games. And it's great, it's really good. So I mean, I would love for them to do that.
I think that'd be a great way for them to go about it. Just have that cross save. And
yeah,
although they like to release multiple versions over and over again, so I think they like where the save data is and where it's going to stay. But still, it would. I think that'd be great, just in general, if they went that route.
Yeah, Atlas, sometimes they're kind of closed off. Like even like with their SMT5, how they're doing that. They're just it's like is remade the game. Like, another version of the game, so they don't do like the DLC stuff with everything. So like they kind of do weird things at times, but for the most part, their games are really good. So I'm looking forward to Persona 5 though. I think it's going to be good, but yeah, it made no sense that it was PlayStation only before. I mean, in today's landscape, right? Like it doesn't, if Sony's not going to be paying some type of crazy bag, there's no point, there's no point in doing it PlayStation only. And you saw how much it sold on Steam. What was it? Persona 4 Golden sold like 1 million copies, like almost instantly on Steam. Like that's so much money. Atlas is like, oh, that's what it's like, like I bet they're thinking, oh, okay, yeah, we're actually making like tons of money now on this. So yeah, it was only on the Vita before then, which is just crazy that game would be stuck to Vita for that long. Considering how good the game is, Persona 4. Golden.
Nothing crazy about it. That was a great way to play that game.
It was a great way. I played it on there too, but it was on PS2 and Vita like forever. That
was the savior of Vita for like 5-something years. You get a Vita, you got to get Persona 4.
Yeah, I mean, come out on PC, man. People bought it like crazy, and obviously Persona 5 did great on all the different systems. So yeah.
I wonder when they announced this thing. I want to say it's this year, but they have what you call it coming up at the end of this year, right, OJ? Metaphor. So
Yeah, Metaphor.
maybe they hold it until 2025 and they announce it like the first half or something there for a 2025 holiday release.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the hope, but it's been a while. Persona 5 came out a while ago now. It's been a bit, so I'm ready to see what they can do with 6. I mean, that was a PS3 game, Persona 5. So, and we had Embracer Group. This is actually our last topic. Yeah, Embracer Group. Saber Interactive has actually managed to buy its independence, which we heard about this. There was some rumors. They removed references to Embracer Group from their website, and Saber appears to have bought their independence through way of private investors, and they're also taking 4A Games with them, who did the Metro series, and Zen Studios, who did Pinball, and the deal is going to amount to roughly $500 million. And Saber is not small. They're like 3,000 some odd employees then. So they are leaving. They are going off doing something, I guess, themselves. And the interesting thing is, because Embracer had to sort of explain the split and how things were being divvied up, they did mention a AAA game from a known intellectual property that's licensed is still alive. People believe that is Knights of the Old Republic remake is not dead, and Saber is going to continue working on it. Now, they're not expected to come out anytime soon, at least not for the next year or so. But there were reports this thing was canceled. Saber picked it up. It seems like they're going to roll along. And I'm curious because Sony, I think, just completely distanced themselves from this. They removed the trailers and stuff from their YouTube channel, from what I remember. So
I don't think they're in on this game anymore.
No, it makes me wonder if Saber and I guess now these private investors, Disney, Embracer. Apparently, it's like this weird combination of ownership around this whole thing. But if they could just get that game out and it's okay, it's not like a disaster, I think that'd be huge for Saber. Does it almost be like they came in and saved it? I mean, Aspire is having a hard time holding up servers for Battlefront Classic Collection. They were going to do this remake. So I think this would be really impressive for them, going off, getting the Knights of the Republic remake done, and then turning around and being like, okay, we're independent now. Let's what do you got for us? So they can do ports of stuff. They just did the Kingdom Come Deliverance for Switch. I think they did that. And it's actually not bad. I think Digital Foundry did a video, and they were comparing it to the Xbox One S, and it compared very favorably to a console like that for the Switch version, even in portable mode. So Saber knows what they're doing there. They also did The Witcher 3 on the Switch. So I think they'll actually get quite a few contracts, I think, going into next generation for Nintendo from third parties. So I think Saber, like, sky's the limit for them. So I'm going to be paying attention to them. But Embracer, they lost quite a few developers. They, of course, gained some money there, $500 million. I'm trying to figure out how much further Embracer cuts before they're right. Because they've canceled like 30 some odd games already, and they've laid off thousands of people or now parted ways with Saber.
Who is Embracer?
They still have some people. They still have a bunch of. It's funny. We talk about all the stuff they've lost. They still have an overwhelming number of studios and projects.
They don't do any. What do they do? They're like who are like. What do they do?
Embracer is the funding group for THQ Nordic, which is that smaller group that bought up everything that liquidated
Silver
out of THQ.
Okay. Yeah.
Like
they have
THQ
Nordic. They have Deep Silver. They had Saber. They're gone now off on their own. Embracer got way too big, way too fast, and now they're backpedaling. They're struggling right now. I mean, they're also the ones who technically control Crystal Dynamics, even though they have them loaned out to Microsoft apparently. But Crystal Dynamics also working on a new Tomb Raider game that's funded by Amazon. So it's, I don't know. Embracer is they're going through it right now.
Ironically, what's happening to them is what happened to THQ, which made THQ shut down. So it's just kind of funny that cycle.
There was a $2 billion deal they had. It fell through, and it set this whole thing in motion where it's kind of just spiraling for them. So they need to.
I was just gonna say, what does this look like if they kept that deal?
Oh, I think they would have still.
Yeah.
I mean, they're working on razor thin margins. I think they would have continued on at least. Like Time Splitters may have come out then. Who knows? And unnamed projects across the board would have completed. But it's eventually this was going to happen to them. They
think the calling still would have happened after.
I think it would have happened at some point. It's taking them so long to get games out that I don't think they would have been able to even it out in time. I think eventually they would have just burst at some point. So just happened sooner this way for them. So I'm still shocked they even still I thought they would have like sold Crystal Dynamics to Microsoft or something. Like that's that because they're working on Perfect Dark. I figured if they finish Tomb Raider and they continue working on Perfect Dark, that works out. I thought Microsoft would just bought them, but Crystal Dynamics honestly is one of Embracer Group's most talented developers. So maybe they're thinking about it like we can't do that. They also shelved Deus Ex. There's gonna be a new one. They shelved it. So I don't know. It's
for Deus Ex fans.
Yeah, it's kind of disastrous over there right now. But at least want to recognize it. A lot of rumors, a lot of reports about it. We talked previously on it, but it is confirmed. So look out for Saber. I think they have a lot of potential in the industry. And we have some super chats here. Here we go. Dave says, since the PS5 has 8K on the box, if they don't come out with 8K games for it, do you think they're leaving themselves open for a class action lawsuit? I feel like they could enable 8K streaming and get away with it.
If it does anything 8K, then I don't think there's a case. They'll just crush you in the courtroom.
I wouldn't be shocked if something gets enabled in the firmware that allows you to do Netflix at 8K 4 years from now or something, and they're like, all right, we're good. We made it. Doesn't the Tourist runs at an internal resolution of
I thought there were
60,
two games that did it. I thought it was Tourist and then the Falconer or something.
Falconeer,
yeah.
Yep. So there are probably games that might even try it on the PS5 when Sony starts it. Like I wouldn't be shocked if Sony enabled that HDMI protocol or output for the PS5 when the Pro shows up for specific things, and one of them might be streaming. But then, hey, maybe you can play the Tourist at 8K. This from Truly Epic says, what are some of the cast's favorite gaming hobbies that aren't video games, like cards, board games, etc.?
I have a whole channel on one of those. Yes,
he does. Evan, big tabletop guy there. And check him out.
I like to randomly kick things in my room.
Yeah.
Oh, see, there it is.
I've been playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Again.
There it is. See, I know it. The card games are coming up.
Yeah, it happened.
Card games are coming up. Okay. What about Josie?
I'm a big movie person. I made a movie. I study films, so I guess it's not really a hobby because I want to do it professionally, but right now it is. So big movie guy. Girl.
Okay. What?
Wow. Big movie girl.
I said, what did I say? I was like, oh, big Pokemon guy on Game Talk, and everyone's like, you're a guy? Well, I was like, it's an expression.
I'm not touching that one with the 10 foot. I'm good. I accept you, Josie. I accept you for wherever you want, whoever you are, whatever you are. I accept you. I'm a
female.
Okay?
I feel like.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. It's great.
I feel like I always screw it up.
Orange says Crash Bash remake or Sly Cooper remake?
Crash Bash. Oh my god. Somebody remembers that game?
Crash Bash. Nothing, no Sly Cooper, huh?
Oh, wow. I love Sly Cooper, but like nobody really talks about Crash. Nobody talks about Crash Bash. Nobody talks about Crash Bash.
There wasn't even like a maybe no pause. You're just like Crash Bash.
Well, I heard it and that something went off at me. Nobody talks about that game.
There you go. This is from Jake, who says, was Dreamcast guy replaced with PlayStation guy Ryan? No, not really. Max is still around. You'll see. He might even be at too many games, maybe. Maybe around there. You might see him. Dark Dream says, I have seen more Xbox is done videos recently. Technically, yes, it is as time goes on and under Spencer will continue. The meeting, these periods are throwing me off. The meeting was time wasting too. They will return to just software. Now they're gonna make hardware. They got it coming. I think they're gonna do something kind of weird. So
they'll just make a TV. Just call it.
Hey, we had that. I'm looking for that PS2 TV still. I'm gonna find it. gonna find it. The Bravia.
I'm also looking for one.
I'll even take it broken, to be honest. Ben says, "Hey Mystic, what do you think of PlayStation Stars? Has it been a successful rewards program for Sony in terms of engagement?"
Well, I don't work there, so I don't have any sort of telemetry on how the program's doing, but better to have a rewards program than none at all, right? So just keep watching it, log in, redeem some points.
Sicilian Gamer says, "How will Persona 6 sell on Xbox compared to other consoles?" Hashtag free Dreamcast guy. How will Persona 6 sell on Xbox?
It'll be Game Pass.
Yeah, I would assume it's probably going to be either Nintendo or PlayStation, depending on the region, and then Xbox probably below them. But if it's Game Pass, then yeah, absolutely. But if in that case, Sega, Atlas, they took a large bag of cash, and they're probably going to get a lot more people even aware of Persona in return.
Yeah, they'll tell you. They'll tell you the install base. That's what they'll give you, not the sales. The install base.
The Dynasty says, "Thoughts on Star Citizen, saying that 1.0 launch is within sight. Is the game still a giant scam, or do you think they will actually release it?" I hope they actually release it. What version are they on right now? I know they've made like some obscene amount of money in their alpha, but
are we just misusing the word scam? I mean, it's playable. It's just been vaporable. It's been like stuck for a long time, but it's not a.
And kind of the big known thing is that they put a system out and then they're like, we'll fix it. And then they just don't, because they realize making the next ship will make them millions. And then they just keep doing that instead.
What's their ships cost? Aren't they? They're pretty expensive, aren't they?
They're expensive if you want to buy them straight up. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
if you partake, then you only have yourself to blame, I would say.
It was a cool game. I played it for a bit, but I played it using like the basic ship, the little $10 ship. It's pretty cool. Until you get off an elevator and die because you stepped between the elevator and the main world and it just tossed you into a wall.
It's like Pokemon.
Yeah, it's weird. It does some weird stuff.
DB says, "GT7, still an MPD top 20. Helldivers 2 a massive hit. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth will be a Game of the Year contender. People be saying Sony in a bad spot this year. LOL."
They have games.
There you go.
Contrary to popular belief.
My bad.
I think people want what I think, and Ryan recognizes this. When people say Sony games, they have those expectations of like a Naughty Dog or a Sony Santa Monica or Sucker Punch, somebody showing up with something like that, right? Obviously there are games to play on these systems, but people are looking for that PlayStation Studios logo and like something crazy popping up.
They've shipped a lot of them already. I think honestly, it's getting to a point where I feel like everyone's looking at PS4, PS3 and going, it's almost like, oh, where are all those games? Like, well, we're in the middle of the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So like, we're not done yet. If we want to talk about how many games there were, then let's wait till PlayStation 5 is sort of sunsetting and see how many shipped. But we've seen a reasonable amount of games so far, as far as like how the studio output.
Little Big Planet 4. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think the issue
I'm with it.
Some people, at least for me, I mean, it's unfair, but like we're comparing it to like PS3, like where you get like multiple Little Big Planets, you get multiple Uncharted, you get multiple Resistance, you get multiple Killzone. You know what I'm saying? Like over like and that's over the course of the whole PlayStation period. But even like over the course of like 2007 to 2011, like those years, like we had 3 Uncharteds, right? Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. So it's like people are it's unfair because like games take way longer and stuff like that. But people are kind of comparing it to that, and like Sony's relying heavily on like third parties, which they've done before in the past. But yeah, and then they also said like, oh yeah, we're not going to have any of the big like what was it like God of War or Spider-Man stuff. Yeah,
no major sequels is the language, and people are taking that as nothing, but that's not true. Like
there's going to be games. There's going to be games.
Rise of the Ronin is technically a PlayStation Studio game made by a third party. I don't know why they're considering that one particular game. I think they're more heavily involved in that game's development, but that is a big point you bring up. It's that we're not in the same industry anymore. Studios cannot ship like 3 blockbuster games on one platform cycle all in one go. We're just never going to get it again.
This is from, I think this is one of the last ones. It's, oh, wait, here. Oh, I'll say this for last. Let me do. Outlaw Farmer says Steam spring sale this week. Third party Sony cheap. There you go. Steam sales coming through.
I wish. Returnal's still like $40, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay. And CJ asks thoughts on Sweet Baby controversy. Thank you, CJ.
Yeah, I'm good.
I've witnessed. I have not necessarily researched this as much as a lot of people have online, it seems, but I see this on Twitter and X constantly.
Yeah.
This is a talking point that I have not at all involved myself in because I just have not looked into it much. I gotta be honest with you, but I know Sean has. I've seen some of his videos on it, and this is one where I feel like if I was gonna de facto comment and get into it, it would be an entire rabbit hole to go down. I will tell you, what I have witnessed on Twitter is a lot of people yelling past each other and no resolution in sight. So I am not sure.
Exactly.
Online.
Nobody actually talking like legit. Everyone's just angry and yelling over this and that. It's just stay out of it, man. That's what I told myself. There's just too much going on with that.
I've watched Sean's videos, and I'll tell you this: I think he's done a pretty good job with a lot of the stuff he's put out there. So I will say that. But if it, I don't know how long it's going to keep going on because some people were saying it might just dissipate over time and just kind of on to the next thing. It keeps going though. It does. It keeps going. But
well, we got to wait for the next thing. Then it'll be that smoke bomb that distracts everyone.
Yeah, I guess it's crazy on X over that whole thing though. Man, it is.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just not educated enough to like give a definitive answer at all. I have no idea.
The thing is, I feel like a lot of the videos that have come out, the same thing for those people, but they definitely gave opinions. Is the big thing?
Yeah,
it's like,
it's true.
Whatever.
Well, it's like everybody's shouting at each other on Twitter, you know.
That's pretty much what it is.
Nobody actually knows what's going on, and everybody's just pissed. Yeah.
Well, it's like one person says something stupid, then somebody else says something stupid and says, no, but you did this, but no, you did this, but no, that person did this, but then no, this person did this. It's like one of those. It's like
there's like high school drama.
It's like a bunch of people that are wrong, you know, but like and it gets into like whole like politics and stuff like that and all, you know, so it's not worth really going into like a ton if you're not going to research it fully, you know?
Yeah.
I will say I did see the person who sent me a lot of the video I put out who quite disrespectful towards Akira Toriyama hours after his passing.
Yeah.
And that wasn't good. So that was not good to see that. So I'll just leave it there. And some words for that. Let me go around here as we finish. I will check Streamlabs as well, just to double check. Ryan.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. Good to see you here again. Would you like to tell the good people what you have coming up?
What I have coming up.
And where they can find you.
I'll have to keep that a secret, but
okay. Got it.
Every Friday, let's talk PlayStation over on my channel, Mystic. And always a Tuesday upload. Could be some kind of random topic in the PlayStation landscape.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Everyone here on the panel is linked down below. You guys got to check them out. I'm telling you, there's some good stuff going on these channels. Let me go over to Josie. Josie, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. You can find me on YouTube at Josie Woe. I didn't have a video out this week because I was too busy, but I will have a video out next Wednesday, and I have some cool stuff cooking up. If you guys have hot takes on Zelda, let me know because I'm gonna make a little Zelda hot takes video. Because I don't know, they're kind of fun. And yeah, thanks for having me on. Check out Game and Talk too. That's our Nintendo podcast with RGT and Nate. So yeah.
What about OJ?
Yeah, you can find me right here on YouTube, Player Essence. Got a bunch of cool videos. Just uploaded a video talking about what's next for Fire Emblem and Xenoblade. So if you're into RPGs, check that out. Did other RPG videos, underrated RPGs you should check out on Switch. And I've got a live stream that I'm doing tomorrow. We're giving away two the Dialga Palka Nintendo Switch Lites. We're giving away 2 of those and a Nitro deck. And then next week, we're giving away 10 copies of Princess Peach Showtime. So,
wow,
yeah.
geez.
Yeah. I got some bonus community streams, community pitching in. We're just giving away a bunch of cool stuff, hanging out, playing games, talking about stuff. And I pretty much stream daily. So if you guys want to head over to Player Essence, check out my channel. Yeah, for RPG stuff, Nintendo stuff, and live streams and giveaways. Yeah, so tomorrow, Sunday, like afternoonish, 12, 1. So just notification bell. I'll be up. You'll see it on there. So, yeah.
And then Evan.
You can find me on YouTube at Chemerick's Project. We got a lot of painting projects to finish up this week on stream. I'll probably be streaming a lot more before I get back to making videos again because I need to get back on that.
Okay.
A lot of stuff to paint.
Saw Big Jeff over on Streamlabs says you can't make a PS5 Pro as 8K because no TV under 7500 even can do 8K, and even then you can argue that they don't do 8K. All right, I've seen a few 8K sets for like $3,000 to $4,000, but they are still very much expensive for what you're probably getting from it right now, which is not much.
Yeah, and how big is the screen? Is it big enough for 8K to matter?
I think most 8K sets you're going to find are like 65 inch and up. Like they don't do much under that. So yeah, no real need to then. But that is our show tonight. Thanks everyone for joining us. Appreciate it. We'll be back next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And we'll see you guys then.